Hey, shh. Calm down. The show is about to start. Reese on the radio. Turn it up. Turn it up low. Turn it up loud.
It's like a dream come true.
Turn on your radio. Reese is on the radio.
Yo, let's get it.
Due to the nature of this program, discretion does not exist. It's Reese on the radio. Right now on WTIC News Talk 1080.
What's going on? I'm ready to rock and roll out. What's up? Scallywags, nutmeggers, conversationalists, and ain't nobody forget you haters. It's Reese on the radio, live right here on WTIC News Talk 1080. I remember that guy used to say that. Well, rock and roller. Rock and roller. I always thought that was funny the way he used to say that. Rock and roller. It's like the Fisher-Price version of a rock and roller. Anyway, got plenty of stuff going on today. We are packed, jam-packed with guests. Fortunately, we got DeVaughn Ward coming in today. He is the interim corrections ombudsman. He'll be here today to talk about his scathing report on the conditions inside our correction facilities. That was released today. And we've got McCrory, who I finally got to meet over the weekend. He's been on the show before when he was running for Congress or running for Senate against Chris Murphy. He's back at it again running for lieutenant governor here in the state of Connecticut. He'll also be our guest. Both gentlemen will be in the studio today, and we thank them, especially DeVaughn Ward, for making the decision last minute to come on to the show. So we'll see him in a little less than an hour. What you may also know is that my best friend, my buddy, my pal, is down in Texas. I don't know what he's doing down there, but here he is. Oh, Chris Murphy. He's down in Texas. He went down there to go see the deplorable conditions inside the detainment centers. He's out there whining and crying. Now, look, Chris, I know you can't hear me because you're down south there over by the southern border. By the way, when you get down there, take a look and see how many people are crossing now. See if it's anything close to when Joe Biden was in office. You could do that, can't you? I figured you'd take a trip down there and see all the vast emptiness that is the people crossing the southern border. But anyway, forget about all that. But I know he's in their facility. By the way, Chris, or your team who's here in Connecticut who listens to this program, because I know they do, let me give you a little bit of advice. No one believes you when you get in front of a camera and you say, I went here and did this. Chris, no one would believe you if you told us your birth date. Do you understand that? No one would believe you if you told us your mother's birth date, because you're a liar. You're a scathing, pathetic liar. You know it. I know it. Everybody knows it. You are a disingenuous worm. So, rule of thumb in the future, when you go down to the southern border to put boots on the ground, what you're supposed to do when you say, I was denied access inside the facility, you film it, dum-dum. If you were denied, you put that on film and you post said denial. You don't go down there with no cameras rolling and then come back and stand out in out in some desert and go, yeah, we went down there and they denied us. You put that to film so that we can see how you were denied. When you make arrangements to go down there, you also record that phone call. That's how you're believed. Because again, Chris, no one would believe you if you told everyone that Texas is a state that you are in while being filmed in the state. We would still think it was a production studio. That's how much credibility you have. Do you understand how that works? Again, disingenuous worm. That's lying bastard to the rest of you. He knows it. I know it. Everybody knows it. But he goes down there and he says, we're down here and we're live in Texas and we went to the facility and we were denied. I have no video evidence of that, even though I'm on camera right now. I brought a camera crew down there to show that I'm actually filming live in Texas. And here's me standing in Texas. But the actual atrocities that I've seen, I did not get on film because for some odd reason, the film doesn't work. The digital camera won't work when I'm actually showing people or trying to show people the atrocities of the Trump administration and the border agents. Then he tells a story, a harrowing story last night. I was talking to this family with 2 children, and they were crying and weeping, talking about how they were locked up for an entire month. Chris, I know you're not a journalist. I know. You've never worked in media, but I'm just saying, rule of thumb, you disingenuous worm, film said family to present us all of that. It's called documented evidence. Instead, because you hogged the camera, because this is all about you and your fundraising efforts to raise your profile running for president in 2028 to maybe 1.5% from 1%, you hog the entire camera. Why not put the subject of your ire, the actual people, the immigrants with a translator, you know, the ones you got all this information from, with you interviewing said children or families? And explain to them, even if they're shy, listen, this is important. I need to tell the American people exactly what they're doing to you. So can you go on camera and I will talk to you a little bit? And listen, I'll even tell you what to say. At least get a phony family. You were in San Antonio. I lived there. Mexicans are everywhere. I'm kidding you. I'm not kidding you. They're everywhere. You could throw a pebble and hit a Mexican in San Antonio. You were there. You couldn't find a stand-in? Come on, man. Who are you kidding? Instead, you have to hog the camera time to even tell their story. Like, you don't think that I was watching this? Like, I wish somebody would get in that man's ear and say, hey, Chris, this dude is beating you up on the air. He is beating you up. He is telling the American people how much of a knucklehead you look like. I don't get it. Go look at his videos, folks. Go, I implore you, give him the views that he's looking for. And ask yourself one question. Chris, if all of these people are true, remember, we're talking about thousands of individuals. You are in Texas, folks. You are in southern Texas. You couldn't even get an actor in Texas. You couldn't find one abuela or abuelo. You couldn't find one hermana or one jurana. I don't know. I'm just throwing these Spanish words out there because I learned them somewhere on Reading Rainbow. I'm just trying. My point is, I'm trying more than Chris Murphy. Because as I said, he is a disingenuous worm. I had to sit through his ridiculous videos, yet no Mexicans in sight. Not one. Not one. He filmed himself. But that being said, ladies and gentlemen, to make this matter even worse, during the Biden administration, when Chris Murphy went down in March of 2021 to El Paso, he went down there with a bipartisan delegation. He did no group filming and no solo filming when he went down to El Paso. He went down there to talk about mild overcrowding, unsuitable for kids, and the need for faster processing of what? Getting those people into the country. In September of 2022, Chris Murphy went to Mexico. He led that delegation. Was there any criticism of what he saw down there in the U.S. facilities? No, none. He did not film that bipartisan arrangement to go down there. None. Didn't show up. In January of 2023, he went to El Paso and Yuma. It was another bipartisan delegation. None of it was documented. No filming either. And now, January of 2026, he goes down there to criticize everything. Criticize the denial to get in and implied the conditions of the place that he's never seen. And yes, he posted solo videos of himself. No conditions, not even in the windows. I mean, let's be honest, folks. If Chris Murphy got close to one of those facilities, I bet you he had better filming access of what was going on inside than, let's say, Nick Shirley did of the Child Leering Center in Minnesota. Huh? Talk about independent journalism 101. Here's Chris Murphy in one of his latest videos.
So I was just denied entry to the detention facility here in Dilley. There are 1,200 people inside. There are 400 children. The majority of them are under 5 years old. I gave them 24 hours notice that I was coming, so I didn't show up unannounced, and they still denied me entry. That is unacceptable. That is patently illegal. They made a ridiculous claim that every single facility in the area is funded only by the Big Beautiful Bill, which is just not true. But even if it were, it doesn't matter. Members of Congress have a constitutional right to inspect these facilities and have a clear statutory right as well. I'm not going to stop. I'm going to go to another facility down.
And by the way, when he goes to another facility, he won't film that either.
On the road, I'm sure the same thing will happen. But this is astonishing, and it tells you that these guys have something to hide.
That's right. It tells you that they have something to hide. Not me, who didn't film them trying to hide something. I just went to the facility, cameras off, then came back and told you that they were doing something nefarious. And again, the disingenuous worm thinks we're just supposed to take his word for it, knowing damn well that we cannot even confirm without an actual scientist if Chris Murphy tells us that water is wet. I wouldn't believe him. I'm sorry. I wouldn't. If Chris Murphy were a doctor and came to me and said, hey, that's a nose on your face, I would have to ask for a second opinion. He is a disingenuous worm, if I haven't stated that already.
If they are not letting members of Congress in with less than 7 days' notice, it tells you how much work they know they need to do to cover up and hide the things they don't want us.
By the way, when someone is editorializing everything that's supposed to happen or that is happening without showing you the video evidence, which is the whole purpose of you going down there, unless, of course, it is just an opportunity to showcase yourself and how important this issue is to you and about you.
To see. So you get to see the videos of what's happening in Minneapolis. You don't get to see anything that's happening behind these walls.
Because you won't film it. You could film it. You get to see what's happening in Minneapolis, but you can't see what's happening down here because you won't turn your camera on, stupid. What's the whole purpose of you being there?
And the fact that they denied me access, even with 24 hours notice, should make everybody deeply, deeply fearful of what is happening inside this facility.
No. It just makes us deeply, deeply suspicious of you. And here's why everyone should be suspicious of Chris Murphy. Because as I just laid out to you, in March of 2021, he went down to El Paso. In September of 2022, he went to Mexico. In January of 2023, he went back to El Paso and to Yuma. And then in January 2026, he ends up now in Dilley, Texas. But during the Biden administration, this is what was happening in the news as it related to illegals crossing the border.
Texas morgues are reportedly overflowing as migrants, including young children, are dying.
In Eagle Pass, Texas, rows of makeshift crosses mark the final resting place of unidentified migrants. The remains of the dead now overflowing into the morgue's parking lot, where 5 refrigerated trucks hold 260 bodies and growing by the day.
2021, what happens? You get in office, and that red line are dead bodies.
U.S. Border Patrol agents are holding migrants in outdoor cages amidst a record-setting heat wave.
Chris Murphy never went down there.
More than 100 migrants have died from heat at the border so far this year, 13 alone in the past week.
Chris Murphy never went down there.
This empty trailer, now tied to the deaths of 53 men, women, and potentially children left packed inside.
Nothing from Chris Murphy.
Since your last appearance, the numbers have grown worse. It now approaches 100,000 children, according to public reports, 100,000 children lost by your department and the Biden administration, migrant children sold into labor trafficking and sex trafficking.
Nothing from Chris Murphy. Nada. Zero, zilch, nothing.
Children who come to the U.S. without their parents here are working 12-hour shifts or more at factories, even though it violates child labor laws. The three little boys that died, were injured and died. One of them fell from a roof in construction.
Children dying from roofs, falling from roofs, doing construction, violating child labor laws. Where was Chris Murphy? Nowhere. Filming any videos down there in El Paso there, Chrissy? No.
What are these wristbands?
I don't know what they are.
You don't know what they are. These are children being sold into sex slavery, and you don't even know what they are.
And neither does Chris Murphy, because he never showed any concern. He talked a story about last night. It's about how he talked to this one child who was detained during Christmas. It was so sad. It was December 20th. Mama, are we coming home? Mama, are we coming home? Chris Murphy said nothing about the dead children, nothing about the dead immigrants.
That is astonishing.
Surveillance cameras capturing a smuggler tossing 3- and 5-year-old toddler girls from Ecuador.
Was Chris Murphy down at the bottom catching them? No.
Over a 14-foot border fence.
No Chris Murphy in sight. Come on, girl. Just fall into my arms.
My husband called me on Mother's Day morning about 8:30 and sent me a picture of 5 little girls laying in the dirt on a dirty blanket down here on the river.
And Chris Murphy wasn't called to save them? Let me tell you why. Chris Murphy and all the rest of these bozos who are in Minnesota, all these bozos in Phoenix, Arizona, all of these bozos who are in Oregon, all of these bozos who are out in Portland. Same place. You want to know why they weren't there during the Biden administration or during the Obama administration where millions of people were being deported? Here's why. Because they weren't paid to be there. These guys don't show up to protest unless they get a check. There's nothing authentic about any of them. They are all greedy worms. That's why. We'll be back. It's Reese on the radio.
Fan of WTIC? Then do us a favor. Download the free Odyssey app and favorite WTIC.
By the way, we're not done with that worm. About 5 o'clock after our guests are here, we're going to continue talking about Chris Murphy because there's something very, very relevant here in exactly what kind of hypocrite scum this dude is. And look, I don't pull any punches. I don't care about dude. I don't care about him. I don't care about the people who like him or the people who vote for him because it says exactly who they are. It says everything about their own. It's like they don't care who this dude is. It doesn't care what this guy is willing to do for money. And that's why I'm not concerned with how it makes them feel or how angry they get inside about it. Throw your radio. Who cares? Okay? You can kick and scream like a bunch of children if you want to. But if you know this dude, Chris Murphy, you should be ashamed of him. He's made it very clear who he is and what he's going to do, and that is serve himself. What's he doing in Texas, for crying out loud? For what? To go down there and expose the Trump administration for what? Every day with this guy, he's worse than the people who support him. He's worse than the people that he supports. All the rabble-rousers screaming and hollering in the streets who have no focus on anything for any reasonable period of time. He's just jumping around from this issue to that issue. with no consistency, just seeing how the wind blows, and then says, oh, I'm going to talk about that. Get the camera running. I mean, the guy is literally state hopping for clicks when he could be right here in the state. He could be right here in the state with a whole lot of corruption that's going on. But here's why. Let me tell you something. Here's why. He doesn't want to be embarrassed and be as close to the state as he should be because of that report that came out about Doug McCrory. He doesn't want any parts of that. And he don't want this picture. This one I'm holding up in my hands. He don't want this picture to get any traction. I got a hold of it. It's still posted on his Instagram page. That's right. That's Senator Chris Murphy right there. Yeah. And who's on the other end of the table? None other than Doug McCrory. Right there. I wonder what they're in this meeting talking about. I know, and so does Chris Murphy. He knows. This meeting was him congratulating Doug McCrory and working ever so hard to get Doug McCrory more of your tax dollars. That's right. More and more and more. And not once. Chris Murphy is everywhere talking about the corruption of the Trump administration, stealing taxpayers' money, making sure that the millionaires and billionaires get it. But where's Chris Murphy today with the McCrory audit? And that's what I'm calling it, folks. You can call it the Blue Hills audit. You can call it the federal investigation into McCrory's alleged girlfriend. Call it whatever you want. But it's the McCrory audit. It's the one that matters. He's the guy that matters. And guess what? That picture right there, folks, the one I'm holding up on the camera, that means everything. And we'll talk about that at 5 o'clock. Chris Murphy got as far away from the state today. I wonder who tipped him off. Maybe Oakley Dokley? Hey, Chris, you might want to get up out of here. What's going on? I was thinking about coming up for the weekend. No, dude. Go somewhere else. Go somewhere. Get out of here. Isn't Trump doing something somewhere? You know, listen, go to Greenland. Go to Greenland. Isn't he trying to take over Greenland? Get out there. But it's cold up there. Just get away. Just go. Whatever you do, get out of Dodge. Now, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he's Texas. No, he's in Texas. No video evidence of what he's going down there for. Nothing. I told you. Anyway, we'll get into that in the 5 o'clock hour, so make sure you tune in for that. And I've got all the dirty details. Boy, I can't even tell you how long it took me. But I got all the dirty details from the audit. I got all the dirty details of Homeboy's involvement, Chris Murphy, the extra money. Like, we're talking $15 million was state money. What Chris Murphy was trying to get on the federal end is crazy. And he was, bragging about it, holding meetings with the people who are responsible. So we got that whole layout, a lot of it. Also, like I said, we've got DeVaughn Ward. He had an audit come out today. He wrote it about the conditions in the correction facilities. We'll talk to him about that. Also, we'll get a follow-up on Jay Allen Jones. We'll see if we have an update on the video being released. It was supposed to be released after Thanksgiving. We're past the holiday season. Nothing at all. And I haven't seen any pressure being put on by folks at the ACLU, any folks at the Urban League, NAACP, be it statewide or local. Nothing from Black Lives Matter 860. Are they no longer in existence? There's been nothing. And they were all there, ladies and gentlemen. They were all at that court hearing to get that video released, and now, poof, gone. I don't want to accuse anybody of being paid off. That would be wrong, but I don't want to accuse anybody. It's it's just uncomfortably silent. Do you understand? It's weirdly silent. people are, they're associating J. Allen Jones's murder, homicide even, which was called by the coroner. They are comparing it to that of the death of George Floyd, and you know how they feel about that guy. And yet, here in Connecticut, a state that always likes to jump at the opportunity to make itself a feature in oppression and wrongful death. I mean, think about it. Just yesterday, they were holding a protest. They claimed 400 people were there at the state capitol, right, at the Capitol building yesterday, protesting the death of Renee Good. But yet, I mean, think about that, folks. I'm just so we understand. Renee Good, a white woman who rammed her car into an ICE agent. Connecticut found 400 people to stand out in the freezing cold to admonish ICE, and a government here in Connecticut that had nothing to do with any of that. In fact, a government that stands in solidarity with Tim Walz and Jacob Fry. People in Connecticut are at the state capitol protesting. But J. Allen Jones, who, according to a coroner, a black man, was killed as what the coroner suggests is a homicide of a black man, similar to that of George Floyd. And I can't get one of you whiteys to be upset about it at all. Nobody's standing in solidarity for J. Allen Jones's family at all. What happened? What's going on? I'll tell you what's going on. Ain't nobody paying you. Because protesting is not about grassroots anymore. None of it is about caring and honest protest against the powers that be. It's financed revolution. That's all it is. Back in the days, they said, the revolution will not be televised unless it gets a sponsor. You guys got a sponsor. Today's civil unrest brought to you by Nike. That's what it is. That's what it is. You're all bought and paid for. All of you. It's absolutely, it's funny to watch. It is funny to watch. I can't take any street where you're running out in the street. You're in the middle of the street in the cold, frigid temperatures. What was the temperature yesterday, Roland? Was it like 8? It was like 8 degrees yesterday. 8 degrees. Would you be standing outside at 8 degrees unless they were paying you a couple of $100? You had to for free? Did you have to for free?
Yeah.
What? Yeah,
tired. Well, his wife was like, "Can you meet me at the gas station? My tires is low."
Oh.
I was like, "You would pick the coldest night to meet you." Yeah.
So you had to put some air in the tire in the cold.
And come to find out, 3 out of 4 were low. I'm like,
wow.
So I'm out there struggling.
And it's bitterly cold.
Wind blowing. I'm like, all up my back. I'm like, oh man, come on.
Yeah, that's again, you had to do that for your wife.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be out there protesting, holding signs, would you?
Absolutely not.
Damn right you wouldn't.
I ain't want to do that. But you had no you have no choice.
I totally agree. I totally understand. I love my wife through and through. But if she had told me that I had to meet her at the gas station to put air in the tire, I'd have been mad. I wouldn't have shown her that I was mad. I would have been mad the whole ride. I would have been cursing. Holy heaven. And as soon as I got out the car, I was like, oh, baby, oh, you okay? Are you all right?
But you can't tell the secrets, man.
Oh, no. She knows. I don't keep a secret from her. I'd be honest with you. It's really, really rough. Because sometimes it's weird between Roseanne and I. Roseanne called an ex-boyfriend once just because she had to find out some information. She called an ex-boyfriend once. And by the way, she's got noise-canceling headphones on, so she can't hear me anyway. But she had to call him once for something, and she kept it from me for about 18 hours. And it drove her crazy. She started crying. She was like, I feel bad because I can't believe I kept this from you. She told me why she called me. I was just like, oh, honey, that's okay. She goes, I know, but I felt like I was cheating on you. And I'm like, no, it's all right. She was like, I feel so bad. So we've never been able to keep secrets from each other.
Yeah, I guess that's a good thing.
That is a good thing. That's a way to start off.
It also leads to a lot of arguments, though.
Well, no.
Yeah, when you telling the truth all the time.
No. That's different. What you're talking about is honesty. Completely different animal there, sir. That is completely different.
I got you.
Telling your wife the truth, good. Honesty? No.
Okay.
No. You have to find what the line is there.
I got you.
Let's take a break. We'll be back. More news, more views. It's Reese on the radio.
It's Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
Speaking of that honesty thing, I'll give you a perfect example, Roland. So telling my wife the truth is always good, right? So it's like tell my wife that, hey, I bought such and such, like at the stereo store. I went to the pawn shop and I picked up another microphone or something like that, It's like, hey, by the way, I need to spend $100 or whatever. So being honest about what I do, that's paramount. Telling the truth about what I've done is paramount. Now, honesty, that's a completely different thing. And I'll tell you 2 examples of that. One time, Roseanne said to me, she was watching a video and asked me about red flags. And she goes, am I a red flag? And I looked at her and I went, absolutely. She is filled with red flags. And she laughed, but she was also crying because she couldn't believe that I said it. And I went, but of course everybody has red flags. But yes, she has a lot. And another time I was honest with her that also upset her. You might remember when we were at the Holiday store at the Holiday Inn home at Homewood. She said I told her once when she asked about her singing. Honestly, I said she would make a great background singer, which I've never lived down since I've told her. That is what I mean by you can't be honest. You can tell her the truth, but you can't be honest about anything. Don't tell your wife that she's a red flag, even if she is. And never, ever tell her when she sings and asks you, how's her singing? You go, you sound like a beautiful swan. Never tell her you sound like a background singer. And then try to clean it up afterwards, which is exactly what I tried to do. And it was a mess. Still is, to be honest with you. Still paying for it, I might add. Still paying for it. So just be careful. Honesty, bad. Truth, that's different. Tell the truth. Don't be honest. Sounds crazy, but you know what? Let me explain it this way. Is your wife or women in general, are they complicated? Yes. It's okay for you to be. Tell the truth. Never be honest. That's all. I think those are words to live by. Sound like they contradict each other, but they don't. They don't. Ask any woman, they will tell you. Ask any woman, they will tell you. So I will learn from now on. Anyway, I'm going to get on the phone because I'm going to find out where DeVaughn is. He is not here yet. He should have been. But we got about 10 minutes until he's actually supposed to appear. So I'm going to get on the phone and call him to find out where he is or if he is en route. Other than that, we've got McCrory coming in at 4 o'clock. If he doesn't show up, then we'll do some other stuff. Maybe we'll get into the Doug McCrory stuff earlier. Than we were supposed to. And, that's all. I was flying by the seat of your pants radio. It goes that way all the time. Also, I've got some great music news today. Turns out 50th anniversaries are aplenty this year in 2026. And when I say 50th anniversary, we're not talking about, lame, groups. We're talking about some really, really serious groups. In fact, one group from very close to my hometown and a very famous rock group is celebrating a 50th anniversary this year of 2026. We'll get into that. And, maybe, I don't know. What is it, Wednesday? I don't know. Maybe we'll have Roseanne come and be on the microphone. She's sitting here bored what are you doing? Are you doing numbers? What? Are you writing stuff for Leroy? What are you working on for Leroy? Oh, are you seriously, are you hanging on to that? What do you have a debate coming up with Leroy? Are you guys going to meet at at the 92nd Street Y and have a debate or something? What's going on? Okay, all right. So Leroy, if you're listening, Roseanne here is finding out a lot of research on African DNA. She's and she said, what did you say? Oh, she said that it is absolutely fascinating what she's learning, and she can't wait to share it with you. She says that, in fact, it's going to be a great experience for all when she gets an opportunity to have that conversation with you. This is me being honest. Was it Lori Mess still recovering and thinking Corey needs to sit there? Oh, yeah, I'm going to talk to him about that, Lori. Lori, you mentioned that yesterday. I promise I will bring it up to him today when he shows up. And she's talking about Matt Corey. And I'll read it. I mean, if Matt's listening, Matt, you'll hear the question when you get here. But if you're listening now, Lori Maz is one of the people who thinks that you might need to sit out the lieutenant governor's race. But like I said, I don't know. You can make your case when you get here, Matt. And maybe you can make it to Lori, who is, I don't think she's being critical of you. I don't think she's being critical of him. I think she's just saying that he should sit this one out. I'm assuming, Lori, you have a particular candidate in mind, perhaps Betsy McCoy, because a lot of people are talking about that. No, I think Betsy McCoy. No, I'm sorry. I'm wrong there. They want Betsy McCoy to be the Secretary of State. That's what they want for her. Let me do this. Roseanne, will you do me a favor? I've got DeVaughn's number here. Unless you see him in the hallway, do you? Okay, if you can, let me do this. I'm going to find you there he is. If you can call him outside and see if we can get him, find out what his ETA is. We'll find out when he's going to be here. And then with that, we'll come back in the next hour. Maybe we'll do headlines since he won't be here because I had actually put that off. But that's okay. I can put it together in a couple of minutes. So stand by for that. Plus your phone calls at 860-522-WTIC, 860-522-9842. Lori said he couldn't beat Murphy. Good point. But there's other things that he can do. Lori, just so you know. All right. I'm literally holding up until the next minute passes. He's 10 minutes out? Okay, good. So he'll be here. Thank you, Roseanne. All right. So DeVaughn Ward, the interim ombudsman for corrections, will be here. He's running about 10 minutes late, which will kind of get him here just after we come in at the top of the hour. And then we'll talk to him a bit. Maybe we'll actually sit him in for an hour. And then, as I said, Matt Corey is going to be coming up at 4 o'clock. We'll talk to him as well. So stand by for all of that and much, much more because we've got a whole bunch of stories to cover. Do not forget the Doug McCrory story. That is important. We will also lay out that and everything it says in that audit of that financial mismanagement of your tax dollars to the tune of $15 million when we return. Coming up, John Silva. He is in the WTIC newsroom. It's Reese on the radio on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Reese on the radio, making sense of the news. Yeah, even when it makes no sense at all. Now on WTIC News Talk 1080.
All right. He made it right under the wire, ladies and gentlemen. Let's give him a round of applause. Yeah. I have to appreciate you. DeVaughn Ward, who is are you still the interim ombudsman?
No, I'm
You're official.
I'm
Hold on.
Official.
Let's correct this now. I put this darn thing as interim. I went and looked it up and I said, it says he's the interim? No, he's not. He's not the interim. Correction.
I was confirmed in April of last year.
You were confirmed. Okay, good. So we're going to fix that right here. Look at that. Boom. Fixed. Now correction ombudsman. It says it right there in the thing. You got rid of it. Did it live on air. Thank you for coming because this is a huge day in your administration, and you knew this audit was coming. You knew that what you were going to find was probably going to be as damaging and daunting as it was. You want to tell some folks about some of the things that you found? And for those who do not know, what you did was an audit of our corrections in the state, I would assume, and to find out the conditions and the work environment and also pretty much the entire apparatus of corrections in the state of Connecticut.
Well, so there's two things that recently happened. One is the Auditors of Public Accounts, which is a separate agency,
right,
did an audit of DOC for the 2022 and 2023 fiscal years. There was a hearing about that on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Separate from that, my office is mandated under law.
Mm-hmm.
Every year we have to put out this conditions of confinement report that talks about the conditions of confinement in Connecticut state prisons.
Indeed. And that, still an audit.
Yeah. So I just wanted to make sure
no
the
problem.
same thing. So that is the report that came out on Tuesday.
Right.
And I had been working on it essentially for the better part of my first year in this role. And you know, the pictures I think largely speak for themselves, but you know, we've really highlighted the prevalence of the black mold, which is prevalent throughout many of our correctional facilities.
This is a health hazard in many ways.
Not just for the folks who are incarcerated, but for staff.
Exactly.
Right? And so, you know, I think for folks, I often hear, right, prisons are not, you know, the Ritz-Carlton or not a 5-star resort. And I completely can understand that sentiment. But these officers who are working in these conditions, you know, shouldn't have to. And correction officers, they have one of the lowest life expectancies after they leave the job. They have a number of health issues. I mean, and that comes with the job because it's a stressful job.
Sure.
But the hazardous health conditions with the debris in the vents, the moldy showers and the black mold, you know, in some places they had exposed installation. You know, it really is just not a safe environment for staff or for residents. And
right.
so those are some of the things we highlighted in the report.
Especially when we're talking about, you know, as Chris Murphy just recently went down to Texas.
Right.
And his video is in essence talking about the deplorable conditions for the individuals who are in detainment in Texas. Here in his own state, according to your report, which is really where he should be, because the conditions of the people who are incarcerated, many of them, the people who are incarcerated in these facilities are also, as he would put them, undocumented immigrants who are in here for various other reasons, not for immigration purposes, but for whatever reason they are. There is no concern for those individuals. And I know where you're going to do. I know what you're going to do, DeVaughn. You work for the administration. This is not something, I don't want you to co-sign that, but you do have to be honest with me that this is clearly something that must be given some attention to, because this is not about what party you're with or what government agency you're with. This is about the well-being of the people you are here to represent. Yes?
Yeah, I would agree. And I would say, look, I talked about the auditors hearing on Friday. Republicans and Democrats. You know, you had Craig Fishbein, who is the Republican chair of the Judiciary Committee, Devin Carney, agreeing with Senator Winfield, who's a Democrat, and Representative Stafford about some of the things that we're seeing in the Department of Correction and the need for change. And I think, you know, whatever political affiliation you are, you can agree that, you know, this is not good stewardship of our tax dollars.
Right.
This is not a safe environment for our state employees. And these are not humane conditions that, you know, we should be allowing in our state.
In your audit or assessment of this, what would it take budget-wise? Or is that a separate sort of issue that would say how much money would be needed to improve the conditions of our correction facilities if there is a round number?
So I think that's the next step is, you know, DOC, they got a huge bonding amount this summer in July. So Connecticut's fiscal years, they run from July 1st to June 30th.
Right.
So in July, they got about, I think, $80 million to do capital improvements. So, you know, my next step is trying to figure out how much of the things that I highlighted are already included in that money that they've gotten, and then what's the timeline for getting some of these things improved, and then how much money do we have to go back and ask the legislature and lawmakers for?
Why do you think that it has been allowed to get, I mean, we don't get black mold overnight. This is a yearly, I mean, this has gone on for years for us to get to the level where it is unsafe breathing and health conditions for people who not just, you know, again, who have to reside there because they are going through whatever they're going through, but also workers there. What do you think is the reason for the blight or the ignoring of the blight, if you will?
I think it's apathy. I think it's you know, at some points it was a lack of leadership, a lack of management. Some of these things, you know, when you go over to the women's prison and you hear the women talk about, you know, it's 25 of us to a shower. and we're having to use commissary funds to purchase, simple medical or simple
sanitary stuff,
sanitary items, tampons, toilet paper, things like that. That really comes down to management.
What happens to an incarcerated person that doesn't have outside support for commissary?
Correct. And so, I think some of these things they come down to management in terms of, you have wardens, you have lieutenants. Folks need to tour the facilities and really look at the conditions and make sure things are operating efficiently and up to standard. And then, like I said, some of this stuff comes down to apathy and just, I think the culture in prison has changed over the past, 10 years. I think we as a society, have kind of, I think we've become a little bit more understanding about, correction. And I think, things that we tolerated, for instance, 10, 20 years ago in terms of these conditions are okay. We're now saying as a society, this can no longer happen.
So. We're here. If you're just joining in, we're here with Corrections Ombudsman DeVaughn Ward. He's been a guest on this show before. And again, we thank him for coming here, and especially on short notice because I contacted you this morning. You said apathy.
Yeah.
If you don't mind my asking, well, because that's what you're here for me to ask.
Yeah.
Can you get a little deeper on that? What apathy would you say? Give me some sort of.
I think
apathy for prisons or apathy for the
conditions.
For the conditions, like
I think a lot of folks may not kind of see the connection, right? So, example, COs are going into these facilities every day,
right,
and looking at this black mold on the ceiling. And just not thinking anything of it and not really understanding, in theory, they may be thinking that.
They're walking into it saying, this is jail. What would you expect?
Correct. And also, this doesn't affect me, right? These are prisoners. So what? They have to shower in a moldy shower, not realizing they're sitting in those conditions for 8 hours, 16 hours at a time themselves.
Right.
And so,
that's actually interesting, right? Because they're just collecting a paycheck, not understanding that some people might, by the way, know that they have to breathe in those situations, who might be a little in tune into their environment and know that these are horrible work conditions, not just for themselves, but also living conditions for the people who have to be incarcerated in there 24 hours a day.
Right.
But another thing that I don't seem to understand here, and this is the part that really, really gets to me. We spent the last 2 years having an argument about how we are to treat individuals who go through the judicial system, right? We just had this whole debate about whether or not we can handcuff 14-year-olds, about whether or not we can shoot into cars, so to speak. Incarcerated people, we talk about mandatory sentencing. These have all been conversations that have always leaned towards the criminal who may indeed be incarcerated, on how we can improve the conditions of those who are, what do they call them, justice-involved individuals?
Justice-impacted, yeah.
Yes. I'm glad you know the terminology. Yeah. It's too ridiculous for me to repeat.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of advocacy for those individuals, and then here did you come around and you do this audit of the conditions in which those people have to live in, and it's deplorable. We're talking dungeon-type stuff.
Yeah.
What gives? Aside from apathy, I'm talking about the people who are doing everything in their power to make the living arrangements for these individuals, these, what do you call them, judicially impacted? Justice-impacted people. Yes, they're supposed to be so cared about, but then they never go inside of these facilities and see exactly how they live.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of people just don't have a good idea of what incarceration looks like, and that's kind of the intent behind the
throwaways.
Well, that's the intent behind the creation of my role too, is to be able to produce these pictures and be able to produce more sunlight into what's going on in these facilities. And I think it's an important role. It's a fascinating role because people don't really get to see what happens in correctional facilities. And I often say this when I go talk to the correctional officer cadets. The correction system is really the most important part of the criminal justice system, right?
Correct.
The police arrest them, the courts prosecute them and determine what their punishment is. But it's really in corrections where the reform and the rehabilitation happens. The majority of folks, even if you're serving a 10 or 20 or 15-year sentence, are going to return home to our communities. There's the lifers are but they're very few.
Right.
And when you're looking at the total 11,000 folks we have incarcerated, the lifers are a small segment of that. The majority of people who are incarcerated are going to return home to our communities.
Mm-hmm.
And it's in corrections. It's the interactions with the officers. It's the environment that they live in that's going to determine whether or not they return to our communities rehabilitated and ready to be productive members of society, or are they going to return more broken, more bitter, more physically disabled? That's where all that work happens. And so the work that happens in corrections, the stuff that happens in corrections is just so important to us in our justice system.
It is so true because, remember, the incarcerated individual has an interaction with the police upon his arrest.
Sure.
That bitterness in being arrested and being confined in that facility will more than likely grow. Right? While being in it just does. Listen, I know. It just grows in there because, remember, they're in prison, whether or not they blame themselves, whether or not they hold themselves accountable, being in that place, there is a degree of anger and resentment that comes inside those rooms. But what I mean by this, and I'm going to get to sort of the point that you're making about the corrections officers, the person that they deal with the most inside that facility as far as how it pertains to their rehabilitation is the corrections officer.
Correct.
The ones that they see daily.
Correct.
And the relationship that they have with the corrections officer, because people are thinking that the corrections officer is coming there to be sort of like this brute, right? In essence, follow the rules, do this, do that. There isn't. That doesn't happen because whether you like it or not, and this is true, relationships do happen in at least a professional way.
Sure.
Because that corrections officer who sees them every morning or sees them every night, who in essence gives them their razors or gives them their soap or whatever the deal may be, they get to know that guy. Hey, Johnson. Hey, whatever. They know him by their last name. They see those people every day for years, sometimes, long periods of time. Whatever it is, there is a relationship. Like it or not.
No, there is.
And what I'm saying is that the rehabilitation happens within that dynamic between the corrections officer and the inmate, so to speak.
Well, so, that's correct. And I will say, the majority of our correction staff are empathetic people, people who go to work every day and try to do a really tough job in terms of keeping the society safe and keeping the folks in the facility safe from one another.
Right.
There's just a ton of phenomenal people that work in correction that do this difficult job. And so this report is in no way any disparagement on them or their efforts. And so I just think it's important to say that. But someone in my office raised a really important point. When you're thinking about, I don't know if you've ever seen Maslow's pyramid of needs, right? Where you're talking about, basic human needs. And at the bottom of the pyramid is your basic human needs, like things like warmth or cold or food or water. And you can't get up to the higher level of kind of humanity where you're working on things like rehabilitation and bettering yourself. You can't even get up to those skills when your basic needs aren't being met.
Correct.
Right? And if you're every day you're fighting for, decent food, you're fighting for to be kept warm, you're fighting to keep mice off your bed or rodents outside of, where you're staying, you can't even be able to start to work on some of the rehabilitative things that you should be working on during your period of incarceration.
Right, because even in those conditions that you're talking about in this report, that's where the apathy of the inmate comes in, because in essence, that place, that condition they're living in, there is no opportunity for growth for even that individual because of those conditions, those basic conditions that they should be able to live in.
You're in survival mode.
Yeah.
You're in survival mode. And so, I just think I think the governor's, response to the report was spot on. We as a state can do better. The taxpayers demand better. The staff demands better. The residents who have to live in these facilities demand better. And we're going to work towards that.
But you weren't, look, DeVaughn, you've been there how long now?
A year.
Okay,
A year.
You've been there a year.
Yeah.
With all due respect.
Sure.
Okay. Why now? Because all of this we didn't get black mold overnight. We didn't get it within the last year. We didn't get these conditions overnight. Okay, I'm sure that you are there as an advocate, maybe for the conditions of that, or of the people who work there, and of course the people who are inside. But come on, man, this state is supposed to be the most compassionate place where I'm watching all of these people running around here, patting themselves on the back, talking about how compassionate they are for the underserved and the people who have to go out and commit crimes and end up in these situations, and then they leave them in these deplorable situations. It's nothing against you, and I want to let you know, because
I don't take it that way.
Yeah, every time I ask you to come here, you do eagerly. If you can't, you can't, but you always do. Sure. So I don't put this on you, and I don't even take. It's not a personal thing. Sure. This is an absolutely. How do I put this? The best way to put it. This is a bureaucracy run amok in so many ways. And the fact that you can't get the basic needs of incarceration met when everybody is jumping over themselves to care about those who they call the less fortunate, every time you turn around, I see another story and another case of these people who absolutely don't represent truly what they keep telling everybody else in public. This is it's absolutely unfathomable that when I saw your report yesterday and I saw those pictures, I said to myself, this ain't Connecticut, man. These guys go on TV every day talking about how compassionate or more compassionate they are than everybody else. They pat themselves all the way. The Republicans, again, Chris Murphy, he's down there in Texas talking about the deplorable conditions of the detainment centers in Texas. This report comes out yesterday. He doesn't even tweet about it.
Yeah. No, I mean, we've talked about this, right, where when I was an attorney representing folks who were incarcerated, I represented a young woman who was forced to give birth in a prison here in Connecticut.
Yeah.
And, I fought tooth and nail with Attorney General Tong about that case. And while he was defending the state and defending the state's conduct in that case, where a girl here from Connecticut was literally born in a cage, he was filing amicus briefs in Texas saying how deplorable it was that the Trump administration was holding children in cages, right?
Yeah.
And so, sometimes that dissonance, between what's going on a federal level and what's going on a state level, sometimes can be frustrating, and it happens. But I can't comment on.
I know you can't. It's not about. I just want to let you know that while you're here, I'm going to say it to you while you're here, and they know that. Because again, but the bottom line is, again, I don't hold you accountable. You're doing the thing that you're supposed to do. You're bringing attention to it, and you're doing your job. I don't want you to be a talk show host. That's my job. Right. You're here as my guest. Okay. But I got to tell you, as you were telling that story about William Tong being down in Texas, you know what quote came to my mind? You're going to know this quote. Either they don't know, it don't show, or don't care about what's going on in the hood. You know it. Like what? He's laughing now because he knows it's true. Yeah. That's exactly what William Tong and Chris Murphy are expressing. They don't give a damn what's happening in their own hood. They are grabbing. Look, this attention seeking is just it's embarrassing on so many levels. But again, look, this report, the reason why I brought attention to it today and the reason why I'm bringing attention to it today is because I don't want it to be overlooked.
Well, thank you.
Okay? Because what you're doing is important, regardless of anything else. And people, I know a lot of people are going to say, well, Reese, they're incarcerated people. I don't want them to live in the lavish of luxury. I'm like, listen, folks, how these people come out of these conditions, out of these facilities, the part that's going to play the most important role is the situation they were in. And they are going to hold that bitterness for years to come after they come home.
Well, so there's a couple of things I want folks to keep in mind, too, when we're talking about this issue. There's 11,000 people incarcerated, 11,000 people. Those people have, mothers, brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles, people that care about them. So you multiply that 11,000 by 4, you're talking about 40,000 folks. But then we have 6,000 correction staff, 3,000 of which actually work in facilities, right? Those folks all have brothers, sisters, children, folks who care about them. So you're talking about, 50,000, 100,000 folks, so this is a big issue. But also something I think folks don't realize, we have 4 correctional facilities in the state that just house folks who are unsentenced, meaning they have not been convicted of a crime.
That's right.
They're being held there because they can't make bond.
And those conditions, even for them, are just as deplorable, I can imagine.
Correct.
Yeah.
And so these are not people who've been convicted.
Exactly. Let's take a break. We want to come back. I want to keep you here for a little bit more because I have so much stuff to get into, but we have to take a break now. Stand by. We got more with DeVaughn Ward, who is the ombudsman for corrections right here in Connecticut when we return. It's Reese on the radio on WTIC, News Talk 1080.
Listen to WTIC News Talk 1080 on the free Odyssey app. Download and like WTIC today for alerts on special programming.
All right, we're back, and we're here live with DeVaughn Ward, the ombudsman of corrections here in Connecticut, talking about a slew of things. And behind the scenes, I just called Corey Betts, the president of the Hartford Chamber of the NAACP. And Corey, you better be listening to this show. You've been ducking me, bro. You've been ducking me. I don't know what you're afraid of. I thought we was brothers. But make sure you get well, I'm going to call him after the show. I'm going to see if he can pick up. Yeah, I see the picture. Yeah, we're going to talk about that with him too. That's an interesting photo you just showed me, dear. DeVaughn, speaking of Corey Betts, because that's how I met him, is because you got me to go down to the hearing to release the video of J. Allen Jones's death. Mm-hmm. We were told by William Tong's office that we were going to get that video released after Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
The holiday season has passed.
Indeed.
We even passed Dr. Martin Luther King's birthday.
Indeed.
And we've got what? Bubkiss? Zero? Zilch? Nada?
Yeah.
Goose egg?
Yeah. So I'm not following the court proceedings closely. Last time I heard the Jay Allen's family and the state's Attorney Tong's office were going back and forth over the edits regarding the video.
Okay.
I got an office that I'm running, and we're talking about the report I did today. But I'm not sure.
Well, this is your wheelhouse, isn't it?
Right. It is. But so I will say I've seen the video.
Okay.
I've seen the unedited version of the video.
Can you disclose here?
What about? Can I talk about the video?
Yeah,
I can talk about the video. What do you want to know about it?
I think what we all know. So look, you and I we look at this particular story I'm about to mention differently. I know, but I'm going to ask you. From what people are saying, they are equating this with what happened to George Floyd. In your view, I have a different view on the George Floyd incident. But there are people who are of that group, like say the Black Lives Matter and the activist groups, who say that what happened to Jay Allen Jones is that similar.
I've characterized it that way, and that it's very similar to the death of George Floyd. In that the video at least is that you're watching somebody die on camera slowly.
Okay. That's a fair characterization,
right.
but because both of those incidents happen in that way.
Right.
On camera, you are watching two individuals die. The means in which how they do is different because of how you look at it. Right. You want to describe what you saw in the Jay Allen Jones?
It is. It's the video is about an hour long. I think the things that struck me about the video were the entire time that these officers are, beating him, macing him, standing on parts of his body, they are telling him that they are doing this for his safety and his own safety and protection.
You use the word beating. Let's get to that.
Sure.
When you say beating, what are we talking? Forearms? We're talking fists?
We're talking knees to, his legs.
Like into his extremities?
Yeah, into extremities. Like driving a knee, like a horse kick with your knee.
Wow.
Into his body, punches to his body, macing him.
Did the macing happen with the mask on, or the guard that they put over his face? Because I understand that he has the guard over his face, I guess a spit guard of sorts, and then they mace him while he's inside. Well, he's inside that mask.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. I mean, and at some point, folks are beating his face, but you can't see that because the view is somewhat obstructed. But you know that because his face is bloody, and that's mentioned later on in the incident report that that they were punching him in his face.
Mm-hmm.
And while they're doing all this, so then they administer a medication to try to sedate him while they're still largely standing on him and sitting on him. And you're
how many men we're talking?
Maybe five or six guys. Yeah. And we're
just so everybody gets in. I hate to cut you off because all of this is important. Jay Allen Jones at this point is 6 foot, maybe 6 feet tall,
maybe 6 feet even,
6 feet even. And he weighs about 185, 190,
maybe about 185. Yeah. Sure.
And he has got 5 people on him.
Yeah.
Who need to restrain a 185 pound.
One of the guys is clearly a 300 pound.
I know. I've seen his picture. Yeah. That's a very important distinction between the two men.
Yeah. I mean, one of these guys is at least a 300 pound, correction officer. And so somebody administers the medication to him to try to sedate him. And while these officers are essentially sitting on him, and you just watch his leg, kick and continue to kick, and they're thinking he's resisting, but he's kicking really because
he's spasming.
And the life is being crushed out of him.
Goodness gracious!
And so, and then finally, when his leg stops kicking, they try to remove him to another room.
They put him in a wheelchair.
They put him in the wheelchair. He won't stand up, and they finally get him on a bed in another room, and that's when you can see kind of the reality just wash over everybody in the room when they realize, he's dead.
Right. Now, if I'm right here, at one particular point, when he gets into the wheelchair, it's impossible for him to sit upright because his body is lifeless at this point.
He's lifeless.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's when they decide the gurney. Now, if I get this right, I may get it wrong, but you correct me.
Sure.
from the time when they noticed the body shaking, and in essence, we are believing at that point he's dying, to the point they put him on a gurney. How many minutes? Because I understand there's a very
2 to 5 or so.
2 to 5 minutes. No EMT were called for how long?
I just want to be clear.
Yes,
so he's in one room. Life is he's essentially he dies in one room. Then they try to take him and put him in another room because they've contaminated that room with mace.
Right.
So they're trying to move him to another room.
Right.
But he's already dead at that point. So they put him in the wheelchair. They bring him to the other room, and that's when they realize that he's dead.
And those minutes are 4?
It's 2 to 5 minutes.
Okay, 2 to 5 minutes. Okay,
sure.
fine. We'll call it 3 to 5 just to be safe.
Sure.
We don't get EMT to the location to.
So they try to do life-saving measures on him in that room. They start doing once they realize he's non-responsive, they start doing CPR immediately. Then they bring in the defibrillators. Then they call 911, and then they start the process of escorting him outside of the facility.
911 arrives from the time where he starts to be lifeless to 911 arriving.
I would say maybe 20 minutes.
Okay. Now, hold on for a second.
Well, I do want to say too, right? Like, correctional facility is not, it's not like your Walmart, right? You can't. It's a process to get the ambulance into.
Oh
the
yeah,
grounds,
I know.
And then they get.
Oh
the body out,
no!
right?
I totally understand it. Right. That's important. The only thing I want is to know the timeline of all of these things, because a million people are going to make so many other sort of assessments out of all of this, and they haven't seen the video. But I want everything that could possibly get in a quick interview in that part. But here's the reason why I'm asking about all of this. You stated that this, in your view, was similar to George Floyd in essence because we watched officers here who were essentially responsible for his death. Mm-hmm. Now, how you and I may feel about the individuals, like I may not think that about Derek Chauvin for a series of reasons because I have other evidence that I can display on that, but that's not an argument we need. I'm just using the context of George Floyd.
Sure.
What we see in the Jay Allen case is obviously 5 men who are on him. We see someone who is, in essence, who becomes lifeless at the hands of individuals who are brutalizing an individual. Right?
I mean, they're assaulting him. I mean,
exactly.
And look, this is not my look, a medical examiner's
no. That's important.
Homicide, right?
Right.
It's not that this is not my characterization. A medical examiner's ruled that people killed him.
Right. Okay. So now, with that being said, and I thank you very much for giving that description.
Right.
Now, if I could, I would like you to kindly just pretend you are not here. Okay?
I'll try.
Because I don't want you to ever be associated with what I'm about to say. Okay?
Understood.
Every one of you pieces of garbage in the civil rights organizations in this state should be freaking ashamed of yourselves. I want to say that to you right here. In fact, I'll change the camera and I will take DeVaughn off the camera so you can look me straight in the eye and only me. You are pieces of garbage. If you are standing outside in the bitter cold protesting a white woman 1,200 miles away who ran into a police officer in a case that has nothing to do with you, screaming social justice, while Jay Allen was killed, murdered, according to, or they call it a homicide, I call it murder, because that's what you guys like to use when we're talking about Renee Good. But we have confirmed with video evidence that a man was murdered, a black man, the one that you consider the most vulnerable of our people. And you sit there and never once have you held a protest. I've never seen you hold a sign. I've seen more of you people scream to free Palestine than you have been to free the tape of J. Allen Jones' murder. Not one of you have ever stood up. You have absolutely no excuse for yourselves. You are pathetic. And the fact that me, the black conservative, the dude that you call Uncle Tom every day, the one that you say is a traitor to his race, cares more about the death of this black man than you do while you stand out in the street protesting for Palestinians and white women. I am ashamed of you. You are pathetic. And there's a reason why you folks are sellouts. The reason why you are sellouts and you are nothing more than the true Uncle Toms of this nation. If the white man ain't cutting you a check, you don't care. Now, I told you, black liberals in this country are nothing more than liars. That's who you are. You are disingenuous liars. And I came here to set the record straight. I don't want to hear another peep out of you folks until you get on board to get that video released. I don't want to see another one of you taking pictures with William Tong after you leave the court proceedings to release the tape about J. Allen Jones. And you know who I'm talking about if you took a picture of him. Took a picture with William Tong thereafter. Yeah, I'm talking to you. Every one of you pieces of trash. And that's what you are. And you know it. Come after me. The door's wide open. But I don't want to hear another peep out of you. I swear to goodness, if there's another racial issue out here, I promise you I will stand with the Klan before I stand with you pieces of garbage. You're pathetic. This man was murdered and you know it. And no one's told a peep. And this video has been pretty much been confined, kept from you for 9 years, and we still can't get you to show up. And then when we get the video released, I can't hear anything from you. You haven't stood up for this man at all. His family stands alone. It's one of your own. But you guys will eagerly collect a couple of $200-$300 to go stand in the bitter cold. As I like to say, miss me with that nonsense. All of you people are pathetic. You're disgusting. You're a bunch of worthless animals. All of you. And you could take all of that to the bank. Like I said, come see me. You guys know the address. Come see me if you got beef. We'll be back.
It's Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
DeVaughn, I know you got to get out of here in 5 minutes. Our guest is DeVaughn Ward, who is the Ombudsman of Corrections here in Connecticut. Ken in Meriden called in. He said he's a 17-year retired veteran of the Whaley Avenue facility. What's that?
New Haven Correctional.
New Haven Correctional. He said that while he was there, never was the air system cleaned. They had black mold all over, leaks in the visitor center. And they said in order to clean the vent system, it was going to cost a total of somewhere around $500,000 to do that. Does any of that sound familiar to you?
It resonates with me, but $500,000 for an agency that has a budget of $700 million.
Yeah,
you got to put that in perspective.
Yeah, exactly.
DOC last year spent $400,000 on a report.
Yeah.
So
damn.
So $500K is.
Oh wait a minute! How much did they spend on a report?
$400,000
on a report.
On a report. It's called the Falcon Report.
How many people did they put on that? That'd be a lot of organizations.
It was just looking at DOC, and it was a contract with a private outside organization.
Of course, it was
$400,000 they spent on that report.
It's the reason why they call it corruptica. Anyway, what are you going to do? I didn't want you to be a part of that. You know my frustration with all of this, and I don't know if you know this. My entire career has always been under the sort of attack that because I'm a conservative black man, that for some odd reason I'll stand up for the people. And I know because of my history, I understand who the sellouts are. I always have. Because while they're sitting around there talking about, so you in the pocket of ain't no white man ever paid for anything. And I've never cared about what the white people do and or say. But when I see something like this, like I said, I got nothing invested in Jay Allen. I got nothing. I don't know him. I don't know his family. I'd love to talk to his mother. Please, somebody, if they know her, please let her know that me, Reese on the radio, was supporting her, and I'm fighting really, really hard to get that video released. I think it's important.
You have.
And you know that, right?
Yeah,
I text you all the time, and I say, what's the deal on that?
You do.
So no one can ever question my integrity on subjects that matter like this. Because, again, for me, it is not about Jay Allen being black or brown or white. It has nothing to do with that. It is allowing that to happen and his family not getting justice where clearly it is deserved here.
Right. No accountability, right? The
yes,
video
exactly.
Released, no one was charged.
Exactly. And the fact that we have this happening, I talked to Alex Taubas, about the young lady who was raped in the prison who they transferred to Delaware.
Miss Gregory, yeah.
Yeah,
Shonda Gregory.
What is that about?
Yeah.
Right? And no accountability there. And not only that, they moved the woman on Mother's Day.
Yeah, to Delaware. I met with her a couple weeks ago.
Oh, you did? Did you go to Delaware to go to talk to her?
She's back in Connecticut.
She is back? Oh, come on. Who the hell got that done?
Alex.
Alex did get her back.
Alex got
he
her
never
done.
calls. I have to reach out to this guy all the time. Okay, so she's back.
She's back.
Okay. And he's still working on the settlement because
still working on her case. Yeah.
Okay, still working on her case. I hope he wins.
And I only said her name because it's already been disclosed by
no,
Alex.
Everybody knows.
Okay.
Yeah, no, everybody knows. Her story has been in the news, so we don't have to worry about all of that stuff.
Correct.
Because what happened to her is absolutely disgusting. The fact that somebody in Williams Tong's office, in so many words, wrote a memo, a letter to Alex Taubes suggesting that in some way she played a part in her own rape, which is absolutely deplorable.
Right.
And then suggesting William Tong did that somebody is mincing words. I'm like, we read the words.
Right. Well, it was a video. You saw the attorney say that on a video.
Yeah. So it's ridiculous the way that anyway. So I'm sorry, I get so heated. Again, another case where somebody of color is absolutely ignored by the people who seem to care about atrocities that happen to people of color, and they're nowhere to be found. Mm-hmm. Which again lends me to say, well, what I got to do to get a check? Because apparently there's a lot of money in silence. So that's the part. I mean, anyway, DeVaughn, I want to thank you as always. When I ask you to come by, you do.
Happy
and please keep me updated. I will text you if you don't text me on anything that's going on, especially with corrections and all that stuff. And I thank you again, last minute for coming by here. Anything you want to add?
No, just thank you so much for having me. And folks, please go check out the 2025 conditions of confinement report. It's on the Connecticut Ombudsman's website. Please check it out. We have a hearing on the 29th about the report. And so folks who have experiences in DOC, please come out and tell lawmakers about it. January 29th, 6 to 8 at the Legislative Office Building.
You got it. DeVaughn Ward, Ombudsman of Corrections here in Connecticut. Let's get our first check of traffic and weather. Mark Christopher, he's in the BPS BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. I got to get it right.
It's Reese on the radio. And don't say we didn't warn you on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
Of course, now that I'm looking at the camera, it looks like I'm going to have to fix it. You and DeVaughn are like night and day. Like, you're a tall guy, McCrory, but I'm like, did you just say what I think you just said because I said night and day? You are so racist, Roseanne. There's no way was I thinking that. I know what I meant. I was talking about the size and stature of the both of you. I'll leave it to my wife. She's always throwing it in here. It's like unnecessary. Matt Corey is here. Thank you for waiting in the studio. I know he didn't tell you that I was going to have another guest, but that was last minute. But you're here on time.
No, it's great. Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here, man.
No, well, don't say that, Matt. You're such a nice guy, and it drives me nuts. It's an honor to have you, to be honest with you. And you're very, very loved and well respected here in Connecticut. So we're going to talk to you in a bit about your campaign. Of course, I probably want to dredge up some old, horrible, sad stories about, of course, your campaign against Chris Murphy, because he's running around the place. Talk to you a little bit about that, and about your decision to run again, because many people are asking the question, like, Matt, why do it again? Because I can only, and I'll talk to you about it, because can I tell you at least what my personal view is? Sure. I'm a winner, and I'm teasing. I say this all the time. I don't know if my own personal ego can deal with loss in that way, because I think as human beings, when something doesn't go our way, it's not like it's supposed to. Like, we get into the fray to win everything, or to win whatever it is that we're trying out. And when we lose, how demoralizing it could be to certain individuals. But what I want to ask you when we get back after we do traffic, and I do believe I know why you went at it again, and I think it has everything to do with you being a businessman, is why you are back in this fray. And let me just do what I consider one of the greatest teases ever in radio. You are in the business of taking risks, and sometimes those risks fail. And I think that's why you're suited for this, in my opinion. Don't answer yet. We'll save that for the other side. I want you to answer that when we get in. Plus, we'll talk about your campaign, how that's going, and some of the things that you're doing. If there is anything different, we'll talk about that in a minute. Matt Corey is in the place, running for lieutenant governor. We will talk to him when we get back from the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center with Mark Christopher, getting you home in these cold, frigid temperatures. That's right. You know what, Mark, real quick, so I can ask you, Is it more difficult to drive in cold weather, even if it's not inclement, like if it's not raining, not snowing? Is it just the cold temperature that makes it difficult?
I don't know, unless your brain freezes up. I'm not sure. Maybe does your reaction time slow down? I'm not sure.
I will tell you, I think the cold weather makes for weird driving.
It's Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
On the phone. It's been a while. Right in studio with us, because usually when I have you on here, you're on the phone. None other than Matt McCrory, businessman, entrepreneur, Renaissance man, is in the building today. Matt, thank you as always. You kind of just like DeVaughn, short notice over the weekend. I said, hey, come on the show on Wednesday. You immediately agreed. It was we're absolutely happy to have you here. Sure. I think you're a good, all around good guy, and everyone raves about you, just about your personality and your stature as a businessman and as a person in the state of Connecticut. You are widely respected.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
And I think it has a lot to do with not just the seriousness about you. Like when you talk to people, you're very direct. You smile, you're engaging, and all that stuff. Even meeting you is sort of like, yeah, you come in the room sort of like a giant. I like that because I do that myself. So I saw that in you immediately.
Well, you're a pretty big guy.
Yeah. I was skinny all my life, man. I put on all this weight. This is pasta weight. That's all this is.
No, I'm talking about your height. You're pretty good.
Well, yeah. You did this before against Chris Murphy, and that didn't go so well, even for me. But other than the fact that because I'm a talk radio host, it was good for me because I get to beat up on that guy on a daily basis. I hate him. I really do. And I try not to. I told everybody the next time that guy sees me, I only want him to swing. That's the way I feel about him. Is that he's a worm.
Well, what did the country really gain by sending Senator Murphy back to Washington?
Nothing.
Our entire congressional delegation. If somebody could call up and tell me what policies are they putting forward in this country to move the country forward, not only that, to move the state of Connecticut forward, it's always I'm anti-Trump. Whatever President Trump does, we're against. I mean, that's not policy.
Right.
If you look what the president has done, $18 trillion reinvested into this country. How much has come into Connecticut?
Yeah.
Nothing. Besides the defense industry, which our congressional delegation will always take credit for, but it's the increase in defense spending under this administration that's brought submarines, that's brought jobs to Sikorsky, it's brought jobs to Pratt & Whitney. This is an administration that cares about the defense industry. That's the only thing holding Connecticut together at this moment.
And the crazy part is that the state has done nothing to at least attach itself to the good things that the president has done that could come to the state. They've been literally like counter to the president's policies, even the most simple one. Like the fact that Governor Lamont thought it was a Trump own to deny the citizens of Connecticut no taxes on tips and no taxes on overtime, to at least try to, they couldn't even sell that as we're doing it against the president. You are affecting your own people in doing so. They're still going to charge them for those things.
Follow the lead. I mean, you're talking about the people that work in hotels, cleaning bathrooms, making your beds, not just the hospitality industry where you're serving tables. These are the poorest people trying to make ends meet.
Exactly.
What a great opportunity to put more money in people's pockets.
Exactly.
People that want to work, people that are working overtime. You know, I've worked overtime a lot of times in my entire life, collecting a paycheck when I did work for somebody, and you're like, it's not even worth it because of all the taxes they take out. If you're able to keep more of that money, it goes into the economy, making Connecticut more affordable. There's no policies on the state level that's making Connecticut more affordable at this point.
Why did you choose Lieutenant Governor this time around? Was there something strategic or was there something else? Like, what was the reason? Because that's an interesting position for somebody to lobby for. I would imagine, go for governor. Like, why lieutenant
governor? The U.S. Senate, there was a different mission.
Mm-hmm.
The mission was about national security, securing our border, energy independence, making this country more affordable and competitive. And I would have loved to be working with this president from Connecticut, making that happen. Although he's making it happen without Senator Murphy, without Senator Blumenthal.
Mm-hmm.
Lieutenant governor position, I don't need to be another person that grandstands that like our governor is doing. I want to be in the room. I want to be part of this discussion and conversation to stop bad policy moving forward through the Senate. I want to be part of that discussion, talking and speaking up for municipalities, working families, small and large businesses, making sure that they have a voice, even our farmers, to make sure that they have a voice at the table, and to hold the one-party rule accountable. That's I believe I need to be in there to help out our great state senators that are fighting for us every single day. Steve Harding, Heather Summers, Henry Martin, all of these guys are in there fighting every single day for us, trying to make Connecticut more affordable, and they need my help.
I think you're a great candidate. I rarely hear some of the folks who should be talking about you. I don't know if that's the reason, maybe because it's too early or they're sort of feeling folks out, as it were. What are some of the things that you're seeing or hearing from folks about you running for lieutenant? I know some of the people I have seen who are immediately on board because they love you. They love you from the start, and they'll support you in anything that you do. But some of the folks who know nothing about you, who are learning about you, you've been engaging with them. What's that been like?
It's been great. I mean, they understand where I come from. I was in the laborers union. I was in the Teamsters. I have a small business owner. I represent a lot of people that are struggling every single day to pay their bills, to get jobs. I've worked in every city in the state of Connecticut. I've traveled through every town from my window cleaning business for over 33 years. I've seen the plight of cities. I've seen young kids looking for work. They embrace me giving them a voice. Everybody I have spoken to, thank you, Matthew, for stepping up again. I don't have to do this. A lot of people don't have to do this. The job isn't finished. I will quit when somebody tells me to stand down, and when that happens, I still won't quit, because I'll back whatever Republican candidate and whatever Republican candidate that wants to run for this office. If I'm not the fortunate enough one to get through the primary, to get to be on that ticket, because that's the type of Republican I am. We need to fight for our state of Connecticut. We owe it to the next generation and our younger generation. Quitting is not an option for me. And I've seen policies there's nothing that this Democratic governor or these Democrats that are in power that are moving Connecticut forward. Nothing, not even from our Connecticut delegation.
No, every metric that we've seen, Connecticut seems to be moving further and further down on every national list, from income to people moving to the state. The only time we're ever moving up is the amount of people leaving it. It's always in the opposite direction that we're at the top of the list. It's actually kind of sad when you think about it. Back to the tease that I gave before the break. Is it because you were a businessman who's, in essence, taken risk and have had to deal with failure? Is that the reason why you are kind of, as you just stated, you have no give up in you? Is it sort of that is that something that's innate in you?
You need to fail in life, because when you fail in life, you learn. But when you fail for the right reasons, and you're failing because your call of duty is to make this country, this state better for the next generation. My father was a World War II veteran. That's what they did. They made it better for the next generation. My father come from a family of 7. He sacrificed to make our lives a lot easier and a lot better. What's the statement? Strong men make weak children. Whatever that saying is, the next generation needs to be better. And what I see today, and it's unfortunate, it's about me now. What I can get, the next generation can wait. They have to find their own way. That's not how I was brought up. I was brought up, let's make sure that the people that are surrounding us, or anybody's lives that I can make better, that's what I do. I've done it through my entire business. The most rewarding stuff working, that's through my window cleaning company for over 33 years, being in a restaurant business for over 22 years, is watching these young kids come through there and be something, work their way through college and make something of themselves. That's the most rewarding part. And through the window cleaning company, I've worked with some of the poorest kids out there that are just trying to find an opportunity. And we need to make that happen, because there's a lot of people that there's no avenue, and there's a revolving door prison system. I used to hire kids and give them second chances when I was in the city of Hartford. That's rewarding. Not everybody makes it, but we need to give the opportunities to these kids, and there's no opportunity out there at this moment.
That's another very good point. I had Erin Stewart here about a week or so ago, and I talked to her about one of the biggest problems that Republicans have had over the years, in fact, in my entire lifetime, is their outreach in places like Hartford and Bridgeport, where those votes are important. People will ignore them because they kind of feel like they don't win. And I've said this because, I did Governor Youngkin's campaign in Virginia. I had 2 other campaigns in North Carolina and Virginia. And the one thing that I told those guys was stop trying to win in the places where you can't win, but that doesn't mean don't show up. Right. You have to at least because we told Glenn Youngkin, everybody said that, forget about Loudoun County, forget about Fairfax County in the Northern Virginia area near D.C. And I said, no, he only needs to lose, but he's got to get at least 40 to 45% in order to win the whole thing. And sure enough, he did. He got 48%, 45% in those very liberal regions because of core issues. You as a candidate, do you plan on canvassing or at least going out there and talking to those places? You worked in Hartford. Are you going to go out there?
There's not a neighborhood or a city that I'm worried about walking into. People find it enlightening and engaging when you walk into places that they don't see Republicans too often. Mm. But it's about the conversation. How is your schools doing? How's the pipeline from your high school to a community college to a manufacturing or to a six-figure job? That's what people want to hear. Where's the opportunity for my kids? You know, people complain about all the people on SNAP in the state of Connecticut. Well, if you're a Republican or you're somebody that wants to change that, get people back into the workforce.
That's right.
There is no opportunity. There's very little opportunity for people, so they feel hopeless. So, yes, we would love to do that. But those policies need to change. They discourage family. They discourage people for living together and raising their children because they get punished. They get punished for a two-family system because they're on the welfare system. It's just a broken system that needs to be addressed. And look, what we have here in Connecticut for a governor, for the executive branch, is a reaction governor.
Indeed.
All you have to do is look. Energy crisis, reaction. Windmills, reaction. The housing thing, reaction. Here is his own words. I should have been more involved with the legislation process last time out. Well, where were you, Governor? Were you sleeping? You're talking about a housing bill that affects every single community in the state of Connecticut, and you still passed it. You passed it because it's re-election season. It's all.
We thought that about the SNAP program as well.
So here's a guy that got a $500 million discretionary fund to pay for anything he wants with no accountability. I just talked about the trash that we have here today. I was talking trash today because we had a waste-to-energy facility in Hartford that closed down. It needed $300 million to restart it up. We're trucking our trash out of state, and once other states refuse to take our trash, we're going to be in a bind. And you know what's going to happen? It's going to be reactionary. And that $300 million could have been a great investment, could have created jobs, could have brought energy back to the grid. This is a waste.
Wait. We have a waste facility that's going to close down, and we have to actually.
It's already shut down.
Okay, it's already shut down, but our trash is going to be leaving the state to go where?
It's being trucked to nearby states, New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania. It's all over the place, and we're paying for it. And the day that these states say we're not taking your trash anymore, what's Connecticut going to do then? Once again, a reactionary governor. There's no planning forward for this state of Connecticut. That's why businesses are leaving. Look at North Carolina. They have a complete plan for manufacturing business. That's why these jobs are leaving Pratt and Whitney and going to North Carolina. They're not leaving Connecticut because they don't like it here.
Right.
They're leaving Connecticut because there's stability. There's a plan for their future. They have workers. They have a pipeline of kids coming out of high school right into the manufacturing trades. We need to do more of that here in the state of Connecticut. I'm not saying we're not doing it. We need to do more of it.
We have to do a whole lot of more. The regulatory problems here in the state and the fact that we have been absolutely unattractive. Look, people get mad at me because I keep mentioning it. But if you need an understanding of who this governor is as it applies to business in this state, okay? I mean, we're talking about a state that lost Lego. I mean, a toy that sells itself, okay? It lost Duracell, a battery company in a state where everybody uses batteries. Like, that is absolutely the hardest thing that you can lose. But the thing that this guy did, and in fact, it was the only campaign that I saw of his at all, was to get businesses to come into the state, was by talking about abortion, by saying that because of the overturning of Roe v. Wade, come to Connecticut to abort your babies. That's what he thought was a pitch for businesses.
What's the biggest thing facing every person in the state of Connecticut? It's high energy prices.
That's right.
For small businesses, for large corporations, high energy prices and unstable energy.
I just saw a post the other day. It was probably on X. In fact, I'm going to go find it so I can send it to you. Or even show it to you. This was a post about a guy showed his bill. It had zero energy use, and the public benefits charge was still $500. Oh no, the transfer was still $566.
So why wouldn't you address this issue?
Yeah.
Right? So expand natural gas pipelines. We have a failed congressional delegation that could use a dormant commerce clause because Pennsylvania wants to sell us natural gas.
Sure they do.
Right? But we have a governor that's against it. We have Governor Hochul in New York is against it.
That's right.
Governor Healy in Massachusetts is against it. Puts all his marbles in a win thing off Quonset Bay in Rhode Island. And we spend $200 million versus $40 million out of Rhode Island. And guess what? Rhode Island's getting the benefit of it, of more energy. And they'll talk about, well, most of that went into the state pier. Well, look at the corruption that went into the state pier. Once again, no accountability with this governor. Your hard-earned tax dollars are disappearing every single day due to corruption in this administration.
Yeah, it's really, really bad. We're going to talk about that at 5 o'clock today. Let's get a check of weather and traffic. Mark Christopher is here. Folks, go know where McCrory is in the studio. Mark Christopher, he's in the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center.
Stay locked in. Reese on the radio is on WTIC News Talk 1080.
All right, we're back. Reese on the radio. We've got traffic and weather coming up again, of course, on the 8th with Mark Christopher in the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. Matt Corey is here. We're going to talk to him a little bit more about his campaign, what's going on with that, the places he's been, the people he's seen, and also about fundraising, the beautiful and fun part about running for office in and around the country, or the state for that matter, and we'll get to the bottom of all of that. What is it, the 4:30 hour? Make sure that you always go to ReeseOnTheRadio.com. Make sure you go to WTIC.com. And if not, download the Odyssey app or iHeart so that you can get the show whenever you want. It is important that you be a part of our digital world in order to get the show. Myself, Brian, and anything else with WTIC. So make sure you do that. I want to say to Bob S., who's in the YouTube chat room, he said that if Matt needs some digital marketing help, why should Matt get all the help? How about a brother like me? Can I have $5? We're gonna get to you, Bob, and we're gonna send you a message. Can you not? No, it came out. It said it here. I'm looking at it. Bob, if you can, Roseanne is going to send you an email address inside YouTube that you can get in touch with Matt. And also, we need your email address, because if you do that kind of digital marketing, there's no reason why we shouldn't take advantage of you. If you're as good as you say you are, why not? We'll make some arrangements to see if we can work with you. What are you looking at? I'm sorry. I'm such a. Did you just use a W word on me? That's just absolutely unnecessary. I can't believe I married you. A filthy mouth. It's a horrible thing to say to your husband. Anyway, that being said, Matteo also said, he says, the guy that you got on the show today is awesome. Matt Corey. Matt, you guys share the same name, doesn't he? He doesn't realize that that's your name. But anyway, it's a lot of things happening now. It's going to be a very wild election year. This is actually going to be a very, very consequential midterm of all things. And that's what I'm expecting. So we're going to take a break in a second. Matt, let me put your mic on real quick before I put you on camera, just so I can ask, how much money are you trying to raise? So see if we can get everybody to know. You still raising money?
The threshold's $100,000.
$100,000.
With the SEC, what they give you is $500,000. And what a shame that would go to waste, whether I'm the candidate or not, because my election, if I'm lucky enough to get through the convention, my race ends at the primary because you get teamed up with whoever comes out as the governor.
Right.
But why wouldn't we use that money to motivate the Republican base? And I know that I can do that. The conservative that I am, I've done it before being a President Trump supporter. I know I can do it again.
You spending your own money?
No, because we opted.
Oh, you're not. You opted.
We opt into the State Elections Commission.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, good. Okay. Well, you trying to
fair playing field.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. No, I totally get you. The guy's just too nice. Anyway, that's all I'm saying. We'll get to that. Matt Corey is here. We'll talk to him some more about his campaign and a whole bunch of other stuff, of course, that's happening in and around the country as it pertains to ICE and all that other good stuff. When we return. Let's get another check of weather and traffic. Mark Christopher is in the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
The NAACP calls him, whoa, I don't think I'm allowed to read this.
It's Reese on the radio.
Let's just say some people are not fans.
On News Talk 1080. WTIC.
In fact, Corey Betts just took a call of mine a little while ago, promising me again he was going to come on the program. NAACP wants no parts of me. It's the usual case. That's okay. It's what happens. Matt Corey, running for lieutenant governor, is in the building. Don't let my nonsense get in your way. Have you been listening to or reading some of the reports? You were talking about corruption. Did you hear this report, this audit that just came out of the Blue Hills? It was like, I guess, the governor's report on the Blue Hills financial situation with Doug McCrory.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What a shame. Because those nonprofits are supposed to help the most neediest people, the heating assistance, all of that stuff that they're putting together, not only in Hartford, but all through the state of Connecticut. Who suffers the most?
The people that claim to help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And who pockets the money? Yeah. Untraceable. This is an absentee governor. I mean, would you have him run your company? Would you have him work for you? I mean, the guy's asleep at the wheel.
Listen, we're doing everything to get rid of this guy. I can tell you that much. And now I have to find, sweetheart, did you grab my paperwork that was over here by any chance? Because I have to show Matt this picture that was over here. Is that any of it? No, none of that is it. I have to show you this picture because I've got this photograph in color of Doug McCrory sitting with none other than Senator Chris Murphy in a meeting that Chris Murphy still has up on Instagram, trying to get Doug McCrory more federal money outside of the state money to run this nonsense that he just fleeced. I think it's like $15 million
right.
that was allocated to this group, that he has this weird little squishy relationship with Cicero, whatever her name is, and nowhere to be found. Here's a guy who was literally, when he was touting this, when he was talking about, Donald Trump's administration from August to about December, talking about how Donald Trump is fleecing the taxpayers. The guy he lobbied for, Doug McCrory, to get millions of dollars, not just state money, but federal money, is now a part of this investigation. It's got the feds involved. And Chris Murphy's nowhere to be found, hasn't even spoken up about it.
He's hanging in Texas. Yeah, he's not even representing his own state. That's what he does. He's a self-serving politician, that guy. But look, you have a attorney general has over 41 lawsuits against the Trump administration. He can't even oversee his own state.
Indeed.
Once again, this is an absentee governor. It's a complacent attorney general. Mm-hmm. This is what we're dealing with here. One party rule. And what I am looking forward to is when the federal investigation finally comes down, where all of that money, if it was funneled into PACs that support the Democratic Party here in the state.
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised, man. We found, let me tell you something. I don't know if you know about this. We did this story many months ago, and I don't know how often you listen to the show, and if you don't, get on it. We did this story. We talked to one of the NGOs in New Haven, right, in the New Haven area. He and his organization did a protest outside of the Hamden Police Department after ICE raided an Optimal car wash. You may have heard it because it made statewide news.
It was Newington. Correct.
Yeah, exactly. No, not the Newington one. There's another Optimo in Newington. This one is an Optimo, run by the same guy in New Haven. So the NGO went and protested the Hamden Police. Now, everybody talked about the fact that this NGO was out there, at the Hamden Police Station. My head was going, but wait a minute. We have the SAFE Act. The police department doesn't cooperate with ICE. Why would they protest them? So we called the guy who's the head of it. He was on all the newspapers, and we got him on the phone. So Roseanne and I are sitting in bed listening to this guy talking to him on speakerphone. Do you know what that guy admitted to me on the air? On the phone? He said the reason why they were protesting New Haven police is because usually New Haven police, when they get the memo or the alert that ICE is coming into town, somebody leaks it to them so they can grab the illegals to get out of Dodge. Yeah. And the reason why they were protesting them is because they said, why didn't you alert us? He also says on there that it's not just the police department that somebody will leak it. He said they're also leaking it out of Justin Ellerker's office, the mayor.
Correct. And we need to remove that Trust Act. Why are we making our communities less safe? The argument that they have is that people will not come forward is complete bull. If you're living in a neighborhood and you have a known criminal in your neighborhood, you want them out of there. And where is a more safer place to take somebody into custody, whether it's a courthouse or in prison and jail where it's safe? Why would you release somebody back into the community? You see what's happening nationwide. This is a result of failed Democratic policy.
I don't know. I'll tell you, the fact that no one in the state appears to be outraged at any of it, I kind of believe the reason why is because this is not a protest state. I just don't. I don't see it there unless they're, of course, paid to. I see these bozos who are, out yesterday at the Capitol building. Of course, like a Saturday ago, they were also at the Capitol building or outside the ICE facility in Hartford on Main Street. Is it Main Street? Main Street, I think it is. When they were out there, I look at these usual agitators. They've got all the stupid flags up about 9 different issues other than the one they say they're there for. So I don't really see an activist class of Republicans or conservatives that are out there. By the way, what do you think that's about? Because you've lived here all of your life. You've owned businesses here. Is it because people just want to go along and get along?
I can't answer that question. I don't know. Most Republicans and conservatives are actually working. They don't have time to protest.
I hear that.
I mean, I don't know if they're paid protesters or what their beef.
Oh, we have evidence of all of that.
Let's bring an example, and God bless her and her family. Casey Chadwick, who was murdered by an illegal alien in Norwich.
Mm-hmm.
Where was the protest there? Where was her support? Where was the politicians then? I mean, we have victims all over the country.
Yeah.
Where's the culpability in the Democratic Party who let millions of people come across our border unvetted? You've lost over 300,000 or 400,000 young children missing still today. Where's the outrage for that? Where's the protest for that? I mean, this is what you see as a double standard. There's no culpability in the Democratic Party. And what you see is happening. You can peacefully protest. You can use your First Amendment rights and do it peacefully, but do not interfere with police operations. Are some people being picked up that shouldn't be picked up? Probably. But look at the millions of people that are in this country that it's a mess out there. And God bless our ICE agents. God bless our police officers and our state troopers who are trying to keep our neighborhoods safe, who are trying to keep our highways safe. And let's talk about highways. You got a lot of people driving on our highways, tractor trailer license, CDL license, that are here illegally, that can't even speak English, that are causing accidents all around the country. We had a couple accidents that happened here on our own highways because people didn't have a license or insurance and stuff. I mean, these people are putting their lives on the line every single day, and we need politicians to back them, not make excuses. And what's the one word that the politicians refuse to use all around the country in these blue cities? Do not interfere with police operations.
That's right.
You can protest, you can use your First Amendment rights, but do not interfere. Instead, they encourage it. They encourage it, and then they pass on culpability or responsibility when something tragic happens.
Well, this is one of the things that Chris Murphy has been talking about for the longest. I mean, he was on the Daily Show a couple of months back saying that we need hundreds of thousands of people out in the street. Talk about using your constituents, to do the dirty work, if you will. I mean, that's what he is in essence saying. Correct. Is that if you agree with Chris Murphy, go out there and put your bodies on the line. And he's talking about, again, and then using the words like sacrifice and we are at war. Like, look, I would think fair-minded nutmakers do not want people putting their bodies on the line for some of these advocacy groups.
And just listen to that language. It's inciting. You're inciting violence with that type of language. Once again, what did the country win by sending Senator Murphy back to Washington? What did Connecticut win? So he's been down there for the last year. What's his policy? Anything President Trump does, I'm against. Are you with me? I mean, that's basically his policy. And look at his failed border policy. He had Democrats that were voting against the same thing. And what President Trump said, we don't need a change in policy. We need strong leadership.
Yeah.
We have a secure border. And what the Congress needs to do is take up those executive orders and make them law.
Yeah. I'm hoping that, look, I root for you, man. I do. I really, really do. So if I can, Lori Maz, who's one of our Scallywags in the chat room. She said earlier, and she said that she doesn't think that you should be in the race. Here's why she's saying it. And it's not anything against you. She has absolute respect for you. She knows that you're a dignified human being and you really, really care about the people you want to serve. But she doesn't think that you either have name recognition or, let's just say, the political chops in a state like Connecticut. You're kind of running up against a buzzsaw. What do you say to people who believe that about you? Think you're a good guy, and they do. Don't get me wrong. I don't have heard anybody say anything bad about you, other than the fact that they think that you're in an unwinnable situation. What do you say to that?
Listen, we're in a blue state. I mean, if you're going to make excuses, there hasn't been a United States senator since 1982. If you're not going to stand up for Republican core values, which I believe I've been standing up for the last 12 years, fighting every single day for the people that don't have a voice, I do bring statewide name recognition.
I think you do.
I don't know what town she lives in, but she's more than welcome to have a conversation with me.
Oh, no, that's not her. That's some people who have said that you don't have a name. Yeah.
Listen, I can guarantee you I probably won't be the only person running for lieutenant governor in this
Probably
race.
not.
And that's okay. Mm-hmm. I welcome the conversation. If you think you can do a better job than myself, then by all means, let the voters decide. Let the people at the convention decide. I'm here. I'm not going to stand down. I'm running because I care about my state. I want a voice up there for the people, and our state senators need all the help they can get, and I'm the guy to help them.
You love Connecticut, don't you?
I love my state, and I love my country.
This, and it's, as Roseanne and I have tried to make it very clear to the people here, we just got here. We have absolutely nothing invested yet in the state of Connecticut, but they have been so warm and so inviting in the last 3 years that we've worked here. When I was, part-time until I became a full-time host here. They have been so inviting, and we have embraced this state as our own, as our second home, if I were to say any. But we've embraced this state as our second home. And what I said to the audience, I think it was Monday, I said, please don't let Roseanne and I be the outsiders who love this state more than you. Don't let us be that alone. We need people to have a renewed faith in this state, and it can't just be about politics. It's got to be somebody. It's got to be people who are willing to defend what this state represents and find its beauty in those things and keep it pure as much as you can. You're going to lose a lot. You're not always going to win. But the only way you get a win is if you stay in the fight. And I think that's what you're saying in all of this, is that you are not giving up because you're here to fight.
When you see the job losses around the state of Connecticut, I've lived here all my life, served in the military, came back because I love my state. There was opportunity here. I'm a window cleaner. I actually look through corporate America from the outside, literally. I've seen jobs be shipped overseas. I've seen layoff parties. Let's just look at Macy's, 1,000 jobs leaving this year, 300 jobs at Schick. All these companies, Walgreens and Killingly shut their distribution center down. You mentioned Lego. We're not on the right path. Connecticut is on a failing path. And what's the governor's answer in the Democratic one-party rule? We need more of your tax dollars. We need more money to keep this machine going. I had faith in this governor when he first got elected. I know he was a Democrat. We're in a tough state. Bob Stefanowski did a great job. I would have much rather had him running the state of Connecticut than the governor we had. But I said, maybe there's hope. Here's a business guy. What's his first budget? What does he do? I said, he's got to find some cuts. No, he raises taxes by $2 billion.
Yeah.
How did that help the working families? How did that help anybody in the state of Connecticut? What signal do you send to large and small businesses? We don't have your back. We're going to put more mandates. Look at the lieutenant governor was on Dennis House last year. What do you think about the 2,900 jobs leaving Aetna? Well, that's unfortunate. That was her answer.
Damn.
That was her answer. That's a wrong answer. You have a complaint.
That's Bitewich's answer? Really?
You can look that up right on Dennis House. It was in December of
2005 or 2018. Yeah.
I'm sorry, 2024. 2020.
Okay.
Yeah. Right before the election. It was that's a wrong answer.
Wow. That's unfortunate.
It's unfortunate. That's how you look out for the working people that are paying the bills, paying the taxes. Connecticut needs a voice up at the Capitol. Connecticut needs a voice in Washington, and I hope we can at least get one. Hopefully we can fill more seats than that to change the dialogue. But the media is protecting this governor.
We know that.
If this was any other governor with all the corruption surrounding his administration and within his administration, the media would be all over it. We have a complacent media in the state of
He'd be
Connecticut.
looking like Tim Walz.
Look what they did to me. I had a debate with Senator Murphy. They waited 9 days into early voting before that guy would even step on a studio stage, and he stood there, couldn't answer any questions, couldn't take any responsibility.
I outlined every lie he told in that debate. Right on this show the next day, I outlined every lie, and with his own words, I outlined every one of the lies he told in that debate.
School resource officers.
Yep.
Oh, no, I'm for it. You made a tape.
Exactly. WFSB aired it.
You made a tape. And you claimed that the police officers and law enforcement were racially profiling little kids.
Yes, he did.
That's the senator that we sent to Washington.
Yeah.
Not me, but the state of Connecticut.
I got to let you go. Tell everybody where they can help you out. What's your website?
It's McCroryCT.com. Please help us get over the top. We can use that money to get out the conservative base, get out the voters. It would help a lot.
McCroryCT.com. Help him out. He's a friend to the show. No matter what happens, you'll come back, of course.
I'm a fighter for Connecticut. Remember that. Absolutely.
I love you, buddy. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate you being here. Let's take a break. Let's get some more weather and traffic with Mark Christopher. Getting you home on this cold, it's too damn cold, Mark, day in the WTIC BPS Lawyers Traffic Center.
The hour that packs a punch. It's Reese on the radio on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Let's do it, baby. Yeah. Any kind of music. Well, okay, maybe not any kind. It is a lot. Just as long as it's grooving. In music news today, I always love these anniversary stories. Imagine the year is 1976, and I'm about to turn 7. And I wouldn't have known this when I was turning 7, but 3 very important albums debuted at that time. Try this on for size. April 23rd of 1976, the self-titled Ramones album debuted with tracks like Blitzkrieg Bop in 1976. Also, celebrating the 50th anniversary this year, on August 25th of 1976, Tom Schultz's meticulously crafted arena rock masterpiece called More Than a Feeling by the group Boston also comes out. In fact, it is considered one of the best-selling debuts ever, 17 times platinum. And you can't go wrong with this one, folks. You can't go wrong. I know other people like this album. Well, when I say you can't go wrong, it's because everybody, unlike me, thinks it's the best album ever made by an artist. So what? It is the 50th anniversary of Stevie Wonder's Songs in the Key of Life, which debuted on September 28th, 1976, 50 years ago. And, you know, it held the number 1 spot for 14 weeks. It's, of course, famous of the, with the song Isn't She Lovely, but it is often referred to as one of the greatest albums ever made, if you can believe that. I guess everybody likes it. I don't care. Whatever. Just another album by... Yeah, I know you can believe it because you probably reference this all the time. I hear everybody talking about, when I was a kid, my dad played me Stevie Wonder's Songs in the Key of Life. They didn't play that for me growing up. There he is. Yeah, see? I knew you were going to... You could have played the Ramones. You could have done that, Mark Christopher, in the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. Of course he'll play Stevie Wonder. Of course he would. There you go. Now you're talking. Yeah! Out of Queens, baby.
Oh.
Let's go. Hey. Oh. Let's go.
Hollis, Queens, baby. Let's go.
Now we're talking. No offense.
I'm shocked that you don't like Stevie.
I'm sorry, dude. I identify with the Ramones.
Let's go. It really is.
I identify with the Ramones. You want to know why they were rebels?
Well, it is. You're right. It's very disrespectful.
Come on, man. You want to hear something wild, Mark?
Yes.
You know how long this entire album is? which shows you exactly what was brilliant about the Ramones. The entire
29 minutes.
What's that?
29 minutes.
That's right.
How long was it?
It was 30.
That's okay. So I was pretty
You
close.
were right there.
Yeah.
30 minutes, the entire album.
Not 40, not 45, not 50.
That's right. Because it's a simple album, and it's yet so groundbreaking.
There you go.
Gotta love the Ramones, man.
The
I'm sorry.
Ramones. Wow.
50 years, baby.
Rolling and I, songs in the key of life. I don't know. That's just one of the all-time.
Hey, listen, we all can't be perfect.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. And I'm not going to try to be.
It's Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
Forgot my microphone. We're back. Reese on the radio right here live. Of course, we have to talk about some of the stuff that came up in the top of the hour with John Silva's report. One in particular about William Tong, who, again, just so we understand each other. And I've never understood this. So someone writes something on social media about you, William Tong, says something as it relates to Renee Good, right? Somebody should, in essence, do something harmful to you. Okay, no argument there. Reprehensible, and the person who did that needs to be charged, found and charged. And he'll go through the legal process because, again, we cannot tolerate people making threats like that. He didn't, and let's be absolutely intellectually honest here. Saying that somebody should is not a threat. If he's saying, I want to, that's different, but I get your meaning, right? Saying it is insightful. Be very, very careful, William Tong, because if I remember correctly, you didn't have a lot to say about Senator Anwar here in the state, who was pictured holding a sign about the president of the United States saying, cholesterol, do your job. Okay, just so we understand each other. I don't forget. I never forget. Just so you all know. What did the Democrat Party say about Senator Anwar? We stand with him. Right? So with all due respect, William Tong, I ain't trying to hear all that nonsense. I don't care what they said about you. Speak up when you're supposed to speak up. You should have condemned Senator Anwar, but you did not. That's what I say to you. Now, let's go on to the other comment. The person who wrote said disgusting thing to you. By the way, disgusting is what Anwar did too. The disgusting thing that someone said, the fact that you found a way to blame Trump for that, that's Trump's fault, that some other person did it. Do you not understand how accountability works? The person who's responsible for writing the disgusting thing to you is the person who wrote the disgusting thing. Donald Trump didn't prompt anyone, but I get it. You guys always like to blame Trump for everything. Just so you know, we have a song for that too. It's called TDS. We'll get to that another time. So please spare me that nonsense. I'm not trying to hear that in the news reports that because some guy wrote something nasty to you, that's now Trump's fault. You think that everything is about Trump. Oh, there's Trump coming after me. Look. I'm so important. Trump is talking about me. Trump is making people say nasty things about me. You want Trump to be like your nemesis so bad. Like, I've never seen anybody ride the jockstrap of a person so hard. Like, it's like you and Chris Murphy are like battling each other. Like, both of you are like playing a tug of war with Donald Trump's jockstrap. No, he's my nemesis, not yours. He's mine. I'm his biggest adversary, not you, Chris. You guys are pathetic. You guys are awful. No, he's coming after me. No, it's I that he's opposed to. Somebody should create that AI photo, both of them. Chris Murphy and William Tong playing a tug of war with Donald Trump. He's against me. I'm his biggest rival. Oh, it's absolutely funny. Jerry's in Stratford. Hello, Jerry. Oh, my fault, Jerry. There you go. Hey, Jerry, how are you?
I was calling about Senator Thune, but listening to your William Tong thing, if you follow the logic thread, what he's saying is because I was threatened by somebody indirectly, I'm going to gin up hate against Trump, of course, which leads to more threats against Trump. So,
boom, exactly.
So he doesn't care about his words creating an incitement. It's just when he's the target of it. So
yeah.
Can I say the word BITCH on the air?
Only spell it. We're not allowed.
Okay.
But
right,
we use words like B or, in your case, I'm assuming you're using it to moan and groan?
How about, I saw a story yesterday.
Yes.
And it's one of several, that we now have Democrat federal judges appointing U.S. attorneys to their judicial districts because Trump can't get his U.S. attorney nominees through the United States Senate.
That's correct.
And what my comment was, I am starting to wonder if Senate Majority Leader Republican John Thune is Mitch's beach.
I will put it this way. The only reason why I say that may not be true, because I don't think Mitch McConnell is in any way like cognitively available to be a threat to anybody, even John Thune for that matter. I think that John Thune has some ethics issues when it comes to Donald Trump. I don't believe he's fully on board.
Well, I think that's obviously the case.
Yeah.
One of the main things Trump was running on was cleaning up the weaponization of the government. One of the ways of dealing with that is having attorneys, U.S. attorneys, look into it, and he can't get his people in place, especially in the D.C. area. And that's why I'm wondering if, this old thing, Irish Alzheimer's, right? You only remember your grudges.
Yeah, right.
Maybe. I'm sure McConnell remembers his grudges against Trump. After all, he was Senate Majority Leader during January the 6th of 2001. A lot of people remember Pelosi, but they don't remember he had a role in that, too.
That's right. A clear role in that. John Thune is this. And I think you're 100% right that Thune is a very sketchy individual. Right? It's like in some cases you hear the guy and he sounds like he is full-throated supportive of Donald Trump, and then there are other times where he almost seems calculated against him, like he's asking for something in return. I will say this about Thune, and I think you would probably agree with this. I think that Thune is calculated for his own, let's just say, personal gain. Right? In other words, he's always looking for an angle for himself and his constituents in order to play along, if that makes any sense. Like, he is not just because he doesn't want to come off like someone who's just a blank check for the Trump administration. Does that make sense?
Well, it does, but, by their fruits you shall know them, and these things that he can't get done just so happen to be very beneficial to the deep state.
Indeed.
So, I think it's long past time for everybody, including Trump, to start putting pressure on Thune to deliver some results. Otherwise, you got to think that he's maybe he really is Mitch's beach.
It could be. If Trump notices that in any way, that roadblock appears to be coming from Thune, you can damn well bet that Trump will reel him in, at least into his office. And if I know Trump will probably, he'll rip him a new one. I'm sure of it.
Well, it's a whole year's gone by,
yeah.
And a lot of these, you may not be able to get re-indictments with approved U.S. attorneys. So it's time is not a limitless resource. So.
Indeed, you're 100% right. It's now or never. You can't waste a day, because a lot of retribution, as I like to call it, they may not call it that, but a lot of retribution is due.
Certainly justices do.
Well, I'm sorry. I mean, you call it justice, I call it retribution, but I think the two can coexist if we're really thinking about it, right?
Well, remember, if they did this to Trump, imagine what they would do to people with much less resources.
With meager means, right, exactly right. Thank you, Jay. I appreciate you, man. Let me get to Ryan, who's on hold in Coventry. Hello, Ryan.
Hey, Reese. What's going on, man?
What's up, buddy?
Hey, I just wanted to congratulate you on today's show. It's fantastic. I couldn't get enough of it, to be honest.
Thank you, sir.
Just a couple of things. I thought Devin Ward's whole thing was actually really good. The thing that just kills me is, as you said, these things go on for so long. No one ever, this is a problem from the top of the agency. It's pretty clear.
Yeah.
You see, like the Buffalo Bills, they get rid of their coach right away.
Right.
The state can't get away from these problems. They know they exist. Someone's in charge of it. They have a commissioner, and they have to bring in Devin Ward to actually tell the truth about the whole place when you have a guy that's leading the whole place in the first. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but the blight, the crazy part about it, Ryan, is the blight should have never reached the levels that we're seeing right now. If you go online and you see this report, even if you don't read it, go look at the pictures of the blight that's on these correctional facilities, and you ask yourself, you mean to tell me people walked through the hallways every day and never once did a thing?
Well, I know working for the state of Connecticut, if you do speak out against anything, they'll put the political might against you. And, a lot of people are just going to fall beneath that. And I know you would disagree to that and all that probably. But, people got to feed their families and everything like that. And, there's the people get these positions, off of bootlicking in the first place.
Yeah.
So it's a system problem. But, I mean, that someone should really have to, be fired for something like this.
How about this? How do corrections officers I don't know about this. I may have to even ask. I should know this, and that's probably my slight that I don't. But don't they have a union?
Yeah, but you know how the unions are. Who does the union donate all their political money to?
That's another part. But I would say that, look, that's got to account for something. If you have a relationship with the Democrat Party, how do you not leverage that weight financially to get the conditions in the place where your constituents work, right? Your labor works in these facilities that are molded, right, and dilapidated, and roaches and rats going through them. You collect their dues to then give to politicians who do nothing for their working conditions.
Right. But I think it goes back to that same problem where, those people at the top of the union are falling into that same trap. It's like a small group of people that all want to take care of themselves, but not the people. You know what I mean?
So true.
I really think that's what the issue really is.
Yeah, because I think what you're saying is that
it's like ridiculous.
Yeah, it's like I guess in essence what you're saying, and I would totally agree with you, is that they don't even see the people who, in essence, they collect those dues from. They don't even see them as people who deserve better. They just collect their dollars, and then they get what they want as far as pensions and insurance, bumps and all of those things that they get from the Democrat Party, while the same people they collect those dues from get ignored or again, what else is new? They're just the plebes.
You see a lot of people leaving the AFL-CIO just here in the state of Connecticut. People aren't happy with a lot of that union representation that they get, but it's just like anything else. You're up against the system. Mm-hmm. Most people just want to go to their job, go home, and they rely on those people that are at the top to do their job. And clearly, there's a lot of people at the top not doing their job.
Yeah.
And a lot of people at the top that don't care that they're not doing their job on top of it.
Yeah, it's a wild thing to see that, because part of that audit that DeVaughn did that was crazy was talking about how understaffed the corrections are. But then you see all the blight that's inside that place. And, of course, as you and I just talked here about the abuse that's happening, even when it's union not protecting its workers, why would they be able to keep staff? And who would want to join an organization that doesn't care about them or even their own well-being?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, you look at all the drugs. I've seen plenty of news articles out on the drugs inside the prison systems, sending people out and all that. You know what I mean? It seems like it just makes you wonder what really happens across the whole state at
Yeah.
the top level.
Oh.
You know, that trash thing that Matt brought up, that was fantastic. I didn't even know that we were sending our
Yeah,
trash
because I got to talk. I have
like
so many people I have to call now because he mentioned that. I'm going, I've got plenty of people I can talk to in the trash business that would love that trash. I got to talk to our folks over at USA. Damn it, I got to take a break. Thank you so I appreciate you, Ryan. Thank you so much, man. You got it. Let's take a break and let's get to another check of weather and traffic out there in the cold. Mark Christopher, he's at the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
The Odyssey app lets you jump back to the moments you missed from WTIC News Talk 1080. Download the free Odyssey app, search WTIC News Talk 1080, and tap earlier today to get started.
Please. Hey, guys, we're back. It's Reese on the radio, WTIC News Talk 1080. Everybody always messes with that microphone, and it goes right in front of my camera. Anyway, so stand by for this because I know we're wrapping up the show, and, of course, we had DeVaughn Ward, the Ombudsman of Corrections here in Connecticut on the program, and, of course, we had Lieutenant Governor candidate Matt McCrory on the program on a big news day with the Ombudsman releasing an audit of the corrections facilities here in the state of Connecticut, and, of course, this yesterday, this audit of the money that went to the Blue Hills and Doug McCrory and his alleged girlfriend. Part of the FBI probe. And I understand people are trying to get ahead of this, but this thing is deeper and darker and uglier than you think. And when we get back, I'm going to explain to you why someone needs to get a call to Senator Murphy. Because Senator Murphy has been talking about the Trump administration stealing taxpayer dollars. And as I sit here and hold in my hands this picture alone, which Chris Murphy still has up on his Instagram page, of his meeting with Doug McCrory as they are talking about getting more of your taxpayer dollars to disperse to various organizations that would only end up in the wrong hands and end up in the release of this very scathing report that Chris Murphy, who's supposed to care about corruption, seems to be very limited in scope. He does not have his hands on this, but he lobbied for McCrory. He lobbied for him to get more money on top of the state money. Chris Murphy went to Washington and lobbied for McCrory to get more money. And what McCrory did with that, at least according to this, has very much, let's just say, revealed a lot about Doug McCrory. As you may have heard at the bottom of the hour and the top of the hour today, people are calling for him to step down from certain committees. This is what we call a fireable offense. And if I have to be the first one to say it, I'm calling for Doug McCrory to step down, to resign, before the state has to deal with an embarrassment of riches, with seeing people, perhaps cohorts, people that he fought for to get this money, in handcuffs. Because I am certain that someone will get locked up for this. We're talking about $15 million. $15 million. And that is no joke. It is nothing to sneeze at. And if people are asking him to step down from committees, that's because they're too much of a coward to tell him to step down entirely. Trying to hold themselves in some way accountable. I think he should step down from the committee. No. Have some guts. Tell him to quit. Tell him to resign. You can all do it. What's another senator? Huh? Do it all the time. You'd have been calling for it if it was a Republican. Let's get another check of traffic and weather. Mark Christopher, he's at the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. Hey, Mark. What's up, everybody? You know who it is.
You know who it is.
You know who it is. It's Reese on the radio. Frederick Douglass of the 21st century.
It's WTIC News Talk 1080.
All right, about to get up out of here, folks. And as promised, let me read some of this stuff to you as it pertains to Doug McCrory and the state senator, Doug McCrory, in this I guess 64-page missive about the mishandling of tax dollars. $208,000 has been uncovered in disbursements with zero backup documentation, no invoices, no receipts, no explanations. McCrory, he single-handedly picked recipients and amounts for subgrants totaling millions, bypassing basics like signed agreements or budgets. Blue Hills just rubber-stamped it, violating core grant rules and opening doors to favoritism. $84,000 worth of phantom work by Sheba, the organization run by Cicero Hamlin, his alleged girlfriend. BHCA, Blue Hills, handed over $15 million in state funds without real policies, board oversight, or accountability systems. No segregation of duties, poor record keeping, a lax in financial controls across years. This enabled patterns of conduct that strongly suggest potential fraud and misappropriation. Speaking of misappropriation, $300,000 in wire fraud cover-ups. Blue Hills lost $300,000 to fraud in 2024, but delayed reporting it to the state for months. McCrory allegedly advised them to keep it quiet until the FBI finished their accounting. Of course, this raised flags about transparency. Disbursements without MOUs. I'm not sure what an MOU is, but they say budgets or monitoring sub-recipients' spending. The report calls for a breach of fundamental principles. Potential fraud patterns involving related parties. Hints at self-dealing, especially with Sheba and Cicero Hamlin's ties to McCrory. Funds flowed to her entities while little scrutiny, part of the federal subpoena's focus. No evidence of deliverables for the big payouts. Beyond the handbook fiasco, the subgrants lack progress reports or proof of impact, meaning millions could have been squandered without delivering the promised community benefits. But where does Chris Murphy fall in all of this? Well, all of that is important, as I told you. This is a picture of Chris Murphy. Let me read to you what Chris Murphy says in this picture. Let me see if I can get this up. This is from 2024. Yes, January 12th, 2024. Oh, just a little over 2 years ago. Thanks to Senator McCrory for bridging together a table of leaders in Hartford's North End this morning to talk about how to get more federal funds to this historic, vibrant neighborhood. That's what this post is about. And there's McCrory with Murphy. What does that say? McCrory and Murphy absolutely have a working relationship centered on funneling public funds into the Hartford area nonprofits and community projects. They both, as Connecticut Democrats, McCrory representing the state Senate, including Bloomfield in that district. Murphy handling the federal side, so their paths crossed on earmarks, grants, and local boosterism. But it wasn't casual chit-chat, as records show. McCrory actively looping Murphy into deals, especially amid the ongoing mess with those questionable nonprofits. Key meetings and fund pushes back in January 2024, as I just showed you. Murphy was sitting in that picture with none other than Cicero Hamlin. He's there with them. McCrory's fingerprints are all over pushing for the grants, and they align with Murphy's federal priorities. For instance, emails and records show McCrory advocating for Sheba's funding through state channels like DECD and even the Department of Education, while Murphy signed off on federal earmark requests totaling $3.5 million for the same outfit. He was signing off on this, holding meetings with them. Now he knows there's fraud associated with him, and he's got nothing to say. Zero, nada. In fact, he's out of state. Which one of you people are going to ask him about it? Hell, look, how do I got to put this? This is, that's going to be mean. Chris Murphy's not coming back to the state. And if he does, you guys will cover him. You will put a shield around him, an impenetrable shield around him, and not one of you will push on him and ask him, hey, dude, you got anything to say about McCrory? You were going to get this guy federal money. You pushed for all of the state money that he got. You sat down with him. You're on Instagram. We're going to keep checking the Instagram all day. We're going to see whether or not it actually gets deleted. We're going to keep close tabs on it. It's been over 2 years, or just over 2 years, and he won't even take it down. And again, no one's even questioning about it. You guys are all taking his comments about everything. Hey, we're here down in Texas. What you doing? Who you talking to? What'd you see? And you got all of this happening here in Connecticut? And not once did you bother to ask him, not even a quote. Donald Trump belches at Davos, and you guys will ask everybody in Connecticut to make a statement. You do it every time, but yet nothing. Nothing. I find it odd. Hey, City Hall Adam, do me a favor. If you and your guys are listening, can we get a statement tomorrow? This is what I want, if I could. Even if it doesn't reach the news, don't worry about them. Who cares if they covered it or not? Can you get me a written letter calling for the resignation of Doug McCrory because Connecticut deserves better? With affordability being the core issue of Democrats in this state. With constant arguments about mismanagement and everything and anything else coming from the governor's office. No matter what we hear about scandal after scandal after scandal, the one thing that they keep refraining is the fact that people can't afford to live here anymore and how they are going to change it. I want them to say that they will not tolerate anyone stealing from the taxpayers of Connecticut. And I want to hear from Republicans right here in the state. Give me 20 very prominent Republicans. They should all step up and sign off on a letter that says what McCrory is responsible for here in mismanaging the taxpayer dollars while everyone is struggling to pay electricity bills, to buy groceries, and even to afford staying in a home, that $15 million is nothing to sneeze at. And just out of the respect of those people who can't afford the things that they squandered that money on, that he should step down. No committee nonsense, none of that. He should resign. And hell, if he's that good at fundraising, as he was with Senator Murphy and Dick Blumenthal and the governor and everybody else, I'm sure he can find a way to make some money in the private sector. I think you guys should step up. Don't let these people put in this willy-nilly, comment here and there that ends up on the nightly news. No. Ride this one till the wheels come off. Make them, force them every day. And you know what? Here's the thing. Let me tell you what you do. You draft a letter every day. Change the wording every day. Just say, it is day one. And Doug McCrory has not stepped down, which again shows exactly the lack of leadership from the Democrat Party to hold people accountable. And then the day after that, it is day two. And Democrats continue to rally around mismanagement of taxpayer money and yet argue about affordability in the state of Connecticut. It has been day 3. Keep doing it. Just draft the letter every day. Keep sending it. Send it to me. I'll read it every day. I will count the days down. Because somebody has to be held accountable. Right? I mean, unless you guys don't think that $15 million is nothing, if you think it's just a drop in the bucket, $15 million. That's nothing. That's pennies, Reese. I mean, unless that's the case. I mean, you tell me. Forget about being, it's not enough to be outraged, folks. It ain't. Something must be done. Right? Look, I mean, look at William Tong. As I said earlier, what did he just say about Donald Trump, right? It's Donald Trump's language that allows people to make threats towards William Tong, right? Donald Trump must be held accountable for what some other human being says. Well, fine. If we're in the accountability business, hey, man, everybody can be accountable, baby. So what's up? Maybe you are like half-assed in the accountability business, right? People should be held accountable for their words. Well, I think they should be held accountable for their deeds. You know, what do you say? Let's have at it. Let's have the conversation. Don't make me have to do it. But I think you should. Well, I mean, seriously, I'm pretty sure that somebody can draft a letter. Just keep going. Day 1, day 2, keep sending it to the news media. Send them another letter. Day 2, day 3, day 4, keep sending it. Just keep going day after day after day. No one is held until they have to. Make it known by everybody. Keep releasing it. Put it on your Facebook and X pages and your Instagrams every day. Every one of the Republicans in any legislation should keep posting it every day. Spread the word. $15 million could feed thousands of families right here in the great state of Connecticut. Could pay their electric bills. But yet somebody who claims to be caring about the community squandered it with his alleged girlfriend and a bunch of ne'er-do-wells who were only looking to steal from the average nutmegger who's trying to make ends meet. It's unfair, I tell you. It's downright evil. You got to do it. You got to do it. You got to put some skin in the game. We'll see how long this lasts. It won't last. It won't. Not if you really, really want it to happen. Thank you. That's all I needed. Just got the text I was looking for. Got to make it. I'm sorry. Look, I said this. Did I say it yesterday? Roseanne, did I say it yesterday that the one thing that we are missing in this world is that we don't have enough shame? Because that's what they tell us, right? Those people who are standing out in the street at ICE agents, what are they shouting? Shame, shame, shame. All of those people, shame. Well, good. If shame is the word of the day, let's get back to it. McCrory must be shamed into resigning. Just out of good faith. He should give up, not just committee, just give up his job. And if he thinks that's admission of wrongdoing, so what? So what? It's better than cuffs. Isn't it? But you never know. That might be coming too. It could be. But if you want to, I mean, you've heard this, man. You guys heard this over and over again. You got to act. Stop letting the news cycle do the work for you. We don't need them. We don't need them at all. Trying to get them on board, but you don't need to. Huh? Who wants to keep going up that stupid hill? I won't bother. Make it happen. We got to get up out of here. Roseanne, you going to come on the air tomorrow? Why not? Well, we got Betsy McCrory on tomorrow. All right, well, we'll see. Anyway, she's doing research over here. All for you, Leroy. This woman went down a rabbit hole for you today. I don't know what the heck got into her. I guess Leroy really, really got her going. Anyway, thank you, Matt Corey. Thank you, DeVaughn Ward. We appreciate both of you for being on the show tomorrow. As I said, Betsy McCoy, former Lieutenant Governor of New York, will be on the show tomorrow at 4 o'clock. As I always say, radio is free, so we thank you for paying attention. Remember to keep JC in your hearts and in your minds. Sean Patrick, we love you and we miss you. Remember that panic is not planning. So plan your work and work your plan. Me, I'm Reese on the radio. You have a good night and a pleasant tomorrow. Mark Christopher's getting you home in the cold. I like that. He's in the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. Shame on you.
Have a great night.
Thank you,
Reese.
man.